your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is brought to you by Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of your Nashville Predators. This is Nick Frazier. The Titans rookie quarterback Will Levis threw for a career high of 327 passing yards Monday night against the Dolphins. Levis was asked yesterday about his chemistry and how it's developed with DeAndre Hopkins on the field.
Yeah, I think it's evolved in what he's expected out of me, and then in turn just what I can expect out of him. And when I first started playing, it was very black and white. I think like when he has developed a chemistry with his quarterback, that he's able to do things that puts himself in a better position to succeed.
Through 6 games since taking over as a starting quarterback, Levis and Hopkins have linked for 522 of Hopkins' 898 receiving yards. The Titans will play this Sunday against the Texans at Nissan Stadium. Other exciting news in the NFL, the league will play its first ever game in South America in the 2024 season. The game will be held in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and NFL owners unanimously approved the 2027 Super Bowl in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium. On the ice, the Nashville Predators have been red hot as of late. The Preds are 11-3 in their last 14 games and have a chance to make it 12 wins tomorrow night. They go on the road to take on the Carolina Hurricanes at PNC Arena. In an effort to aid those affected by the tornadoes last weekend, the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee and the United Way of Greater Nashville have activated emergency relief funds. For more information on how you can donate, visit cfmt.org or thegamenashville.com. I'm Nick Frazier, and you're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063, The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We are live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. D-Mase brought in a candle into the studio today. It's very nice.
Cedar Magnolia from the Magnolia brand, which is Chip and Joanna.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah, hashtag not sponsored. So, but I love that can. Well, I love Chip and Joanna.
You get their magazine in the mail.
Haven't gone that far just yet. But I went to the silos. I went to visit when we went to visit Baylor for my son years ago. I made sure that I went to their store. Oh, I could have stayed there all day.
Really?
It's like a little
village. I didn't know this about you.
It's like a little village, and I could have stayed. It's just people lined up around the corner for the donuts. They got this store that has just everything in it, every home thing that you think you would need to have.
Did you buy anything?
Oh, yeah. I bought a bunch of candles and everything else.
Is that where you got that candle?
No, I got that one from locally here. I think at Target because they still their brand as well. So, but, yeah, if you're ever near Baylor or in that area, you need to go. It's a cool little place.
I'm sure Waco has Chip and Joanna Gaines to thank.
Oh, I'm
for
sure.
all of the tourism.
Absolutely.
I've never been to Waco, but I haven't necessarily heard that it's a super poppin' place.
No, it's not a super poppin' place, but I mean, if you like,
but Chip and Joanna have put it on the map.
Yeah, if you're going to Baylor for a college visit, or if you dropping your son or daughter off or whatever, just drop by. You like it? I did at least.
I like the candle.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, got to bring
some. Set the mood in here today.
I smell it too.
Hey,
you smell like
Willy? Our studio needed a little.
Yeah, it needed a little
spruce. Every little bit helps. I feel like I got to do my part now. What, Caroline? What are you bringing to next time we're in the studio?
I can maybe bring in a nice rug.
A lamp. Did you have some mood lighting ideas you were having?
I did have some mood lighting ideas.
Okay.
So I could dip back into that.
Okay.
What about a lava lamp?
Sure.
Senior year of high school.
Yeah, I can dip into my feng shui.
Exactly. There we go.
There's an interior designer in all of us.
Absolutely.
The candle is Band-Aid on a bullet hole, but it is something.
Hey, we'll take it.
It is something.
We will take it.
All right, we will chat with Elliot Friedman of Sportsnet and the 32 Thoughts podcast at 1 o'clock. We'll get whatever the most recent news is on Tyson Berry. And how about those Nashville Predators now in a playoff spot at the season ended today? So we're just over the 1/3 mark in the season. So we'll get Elliot's thoughts on all of that. But I want to start here because I feel like with all of the hustle and bustle of Monday Night Football and everything that we learned about this team, all of the topic of conversation of this team, I feel like we haven't given this one person their due. That we haven't talked nearly enough about Will Levis. Because I look at everything that team accomplished on Monday night, not just doing the impossible of what we thought was probably nearly impossible, going into Miami and beating the Miami Dolphins. Will Levis is the first rookie quarterback to throw for as many yards as he did, for 300 plus on Monday Night Football. That before Monday night, every single team that trailed by 14 or more points with 3 minutes or less to go in a game, all 767 teams to be in that situation lost, except for the Titans on Monday night. Mm-hmm. I have to give a whole heck of a lot of credit to Will Levis for doing that, for being in a near impossible situation and guiding a comeback like they did in the last few minutes of the game. I think it's really freaking impressive. So my question to you both is, did Will Levis prove on Monday night that he could be the guy? Because Ryan Tannehill, we always talk about how Tannehill, he can't put the game on his shoulders. That Tannehill isn't going to single-handedly win you a game. And we understood that. And we knew that about Tannehill. That you can't put some sort of unfair expectations on Ryan Tannehill. He's not going to be the guy that says, all right, everybody, I got this. Like the Patrick Mahomes can. Like the Tom Brady's did. Like maybe the Joe Burrows can. Did Will Levis prove that maybe he can do that?
I need to see more. I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment. It was good that he was capable of, orchestrating 2 drives, in that situation. But you see a lot of quarterbacks do that. Honestly, you do. Last 2 minutes of a game, defense plays lax, and they're just hitting underneath, and then you just start moving the ball down field, and you get into a rhythm. And that's why I never understood this, prevent defense in 2 minutes. It prevents you from winning a game a lot of times.
Cough, cough, Auburn.
Exactly. So I really don't understand why sometimes they employ that type of strategy, when going against certain teams. Maybe they thought, well, they're not going to hit us with big chunks. We're going to force them to, take the dumps and then tackle them and rally to the ball, and it just didn't happen that way. But he took exactly what the defense gave them, and that's what you want your young quarterback to do. Any quarterback, for that matter, is in a 2-minute situation or a 4-minute situation, take what the defense gives you, and don't try to be the hero. And I think that's what he did. He's a good quarterback, and that's what good quarterbacks do. So, again, I'm not going to get caught in the prison of the moment. Did he do a good job? Yes. But these are things that I need to consistently see moving forward, because there was a time where, he didn't do that, and it didn't change what I thought him as a quarterback. It was just he needs to learn. So in this situation, it doesn't change what I think him as a quarterback. He's a good quarterback, but he's still, he still has a lot to learn. He just put on the training wheels, okay? Let's not take them off, okay? Let's not take the training wheels off. He put them on just, a few weeks ago. But that was a good job by him, a good starting point, and now let's see where he goes from there.
Yeah, I think I agree everything that you're saying, D-Mase, because it is a process. And I think the thing that I'm most encouraged about is there are guys that get the chance to play, like Will Levis is getting the chance now in his rookie year. And you never see anything close to this type of success. It's not, he hasn't conquered the game. It's not, lighting the world on fire, but he's having some moments. And that's what I was hoping for. I think when we talked about, before we even knew Will Levis was officially going to start, remember there was a mystery for a few days when Tannehill got hurt. And it's like, I think it's time to see Will Levis. And sure enough, it was him. They had the bye week to think about it. But there was a few days where they didn't make public that he was going to be the guy. But we were all kind of formulating in our heads, what do we think we want to see? And I think that was what my first thought was. Show me that you belong in the league. Show me why you're a high pick. Show me some tools. And I think he's exceeded those expectations. And then when you have a performance like he did Monday, it's got to fuel the confidence and the belief in not only himself, most importantly, but also his teammates that, hey, we've got a guy that can go get a game for us, can go make it happen with the game on the line. But how many quarterbacks have we seen get extended chances and they prove that they don't belong? Like, there's more of those guys than there are Will Levis. Now, he's still got many levels to go before he gets ultimately where they need him to get, but very good start. Very good start.
Yeah, I think that you cannot label a quarterback one way or another based off of one performance, really based off of an entire season. I don't think that that's necessarily fair, because what Will Levis did in his first start as a rookie, something that only 2 other quarterbacks have done in their rookie starts. One of those was Marcus Mariota. We labeled Marcus Mariota, the greatest thing since sliced bread just because of that game. Well, I think that's a complete misrepresentation of what Marcus was as a quarterback and what Marcus's career really has ended up being. So it's not fair to label an individual quarterback based off of one game or really only one season. You need a much larger sample size. But what I think you can take away are little intangibles. And that's what more so of what I'm taking away from Will Levis's performance on Monday. Can Will Levis do that every single game? Maybe. I'm going to guess.
So.
I hope so. Probably not. Not even the best quarterbacks can do that every single game. Not even the best quarterbacks can overcome a 2-score deficit with 3 minutes to go. But it did show me that Will Levis has the potential. That Will Levis showed me on Monday night that he has what it takes to possibly be one of those guys. The guys that you can say, all right, you know what? I got it. It's on me. I can win this game for this team. Tom Brady did it. Patrick Mahomes does it. I'm not saying that he is Tom Brady. I'm not saying that he is Patrick Mahomes. And if he ends up being Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, then great. This franchise is in a really great position. But I think that he showed that he has the traits to be able to do it. That he has the kind of competitive edge. That he has the feeling of no moment is too big or no ask is too big. And aside from the kind of mental, intangible things, that he's got the arm. That if he needs to throw the ball 45 yards downfield to get you into scoring position, that he can do that. Again, I don't want to put the cart before the horse. And I don't want to label him as that dude, the guy that can do this every single week. But he at least showed us that he can do it, that he has the capability of doing it. And that alone is really what I wanted to take away from Will Levis in this season, period, is, look, can we just see some good things? Can we pick up on some good traits that maybe you do have the quarterback of the future? And I think we did see traits of that on Monday night.
Yeah, I go back through the years. Like, there's so many quarterbacks every year, some years more than others. I think last year was a year where you had a lot of quarterbacks. I go back to, there's a great 30 for 30 on this draft, 1983. You had 6 in the first round. And in that 6, you get a wide range of all the outcomes of what a quarterback's career can look like. You had Dan Marino, you had John Elway, Hall of Famers. You had Ken O'Brien, Tony Eason, pretty good when they were good, but not Hall of Famers. You had Todd Blackledge, who's a great announcer.
Yeah.
Not a great NFL quarterback, right? Never made it. So you see what I'm saying? I think Will Levis every week is proving that he's not Achilles Smith. Like remember the first game ever at Adelphia Coliseum? Bengals-Titans.
Yeah.
Supposed to be an easy win for the Titans. It's very hairy. Jeff Blake was playing really well for the Bengals. He gets hurt for a series. Here comes Achilles Smith. And I'm like, ooh, high first-round pick, Achilles Smith. What was he, like the 3rd pick in the draft?
I think so.
I think the 99 draft, the first 3 guys were quarterbacks, if I remember correctly. It was Donovan McNabb, Culpepper, and him. And there you go, right there. Right, there's 3 very different careers.
Right.
Achilles Smith proved pretty quick he was not in that class. Will Levis has got me past that point. That's the nightmare, right? When you draft a guy and you're like, ooh, this isn't working.
Yeah.
This is a wasted pick. We got to go back to the drawing board. Levis has got you way past that point. Now, where he goes from here, there's all kinds of pathways. But I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, he's done some good things, and he's done some things that he needs to improve on.
Which I think we probably
Exactly.
could have
I
expected.
liken him to Baker Mayfield. I think it's not necessarily an because if, when you looked at Baker first came out, I mean, it looked as if he was their guy.
Yeah.
It looked like Cleveland had
First overall
finally
pick.
found their quarterback. He was, energetic. He can throw the ball. He can make every throw there was. Strong arm, can make every throw. He had that moxie. He can get outside the pocket, run, do all of these things. Take the hit, get back up, and keep doing his thing.
Competitiveness.
His competitiveness was off the charts. To me, that's Will Levis. Now, he's going to have to prove that he has more staying power, like legit staying power, than Baker Mayfield. Now, I think Cleveland just ultimately, that whole thing just got messed up for him, and I think that derailed his career some, and he's never really truly been on track, even though he's a good quarterback in this league. But I liken him to a Baker Mayfield, the type of attitude, I'm winning at all costs. I may try to make some of those throws that I shouldn't be making, but because I got this live arm, I think I can get it in there. But ultimately, it caught up with Baker Mayfield. I don't want it to catch up with Will Levis. I don't want those things. That's why, when things started happening for Will, and I think I asked y'all this question. I know I asked TD. I asked Tim. Are you worried that he may be developing some bad habits because of what's in front of him, the offensive line, and him thinking he has to do a little bit too much? That was Baker Mayfield, thinking he had to do over and beyond. And he built up bad habits that he probably hasn't let all go even now. Even though he's playing good football, he's still not the guy that we thought he could be after his first year. And I don't want Will Levis to be a guy like that, even though I think, even if that happens, he's still a good quarterback, but he's not a quarterback that can, take over a game, that you can put the team on his back and say, let's ride. No pun to Russ.
Broncos country?
Broncos country.
That's
I'm sorry.
It's also just it's so early, right? I can't remember. But D-Mase, you were doing some analyst stuff for us back when Jake Locker was taking the reins, right? Mm-hmm. He had some early success. I don't know if he ever had a game like Monday night, right? I don't think he did.
I don't think he did.
But he had some good early games. Marcus Mariota did. Vince Young absolutely did. He was the rookie of the year. He did have some dramatic wins as a rookie. So, again, the cautionary tale, right? Just because you've done it doesn't mean the next game is going to be as consistent. There's still a lot of work to be done. You can't fall into the traps because you're right. There are bad habits, and there are other teams that are saying, okay, what does this guy do well? I'm watching Levis now. You're on my radar now. I'm watching what you do well. I'm going to see if you can do this when we throw this at you. So there's so many parts to the growth phase here. But like your early returns on Jake Locker, it was easy to get excited. You want to get excited.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to be careful of.
Yeah, because I always thought Jake Locker, he came from a system, I believe, that was more of a spread-out system. And they tried to put him in a system like a pro-style system.
They tried to run a little run and shoot, remember, with Chris Palmer.
But it was like, if you put 3 and 4 wides out there, let him do what some of the things he did in college, he will excel. And when they did that, it was really during 2 minutes, some other stuff, he excelled. But then once they kind of went back to it, was like, nah, Jake's not the guy that needs to be doing that. To me, Will Levis is, let him do what he does best. He operates, I think, in that 2 minute situation, I think he operates really well in that because it's like, okay, I'm taking a snap, I got my reads, I know where I'm going, boom. It's, there's no disguising of the defense. It's basic vanilla. That gets him going as a quarterback. And then once they start doing things in the secondary, I've already built up a rhythm. Now I'm good. And now I'm seeing things a little bit better than maybe I saw before. So, again, you don't want to get too far ahead with Will Levis. Again, I sort of compare him to a Baker Mayfield. I'm not saying he is or isn't Baker. I just compare. They have some comparison to them.
The personality.
The strong arm.
Bills
the moxie,
kind of too.
yeah, the moxie, just the the toughness that he has. That's what Baker has, and that's why I think people are so gravitated toward Baker Mayfield. Because of that thing that you just can't coach.
Kind of the IDGAF attitude.
Yeah, it's just like, go out there and I'm going to do whatever I need to do to win this football game. Mm-hmm. That Will Levis has some of that, but you want to hone it in to make sure he don't develop bad habits within all of that.
And I think one thing that you want to be able to take away from a quarterback's rookie season, take away the stats, take away the wins and losses. Mm-hmm. Does he have it? Like, does he just have something that you feel like, okay, I can work with this? Joe Burrow's rookie season. He got hurt in the middle of the season, and the Bengals weren't very good that year. They had a top 3 pick the next year. But you could look at him and say, all right, that kid's got something. Mm-hmm. Like, he can be successful in this league. I feel like I'm taking that away from Will Levis. I don't know how successful he's going to be in the league. I don't know if he's going to be Super Bowl MVP, and I don't know if he's just going to be Kirk Cousins or if he's going to be worse than that. But I think I've learned, especially on Monday, that solidified it for me. But just through the last few games, he's got something. He's got it that you can't coach.
I like what I'm seeing. But now, I would have said when Vince Young was reeling off victories his rookie year that Vince Young has got it. Mm-hmm. Now, just because you have it, or it seems like you have it, this is where you have to keep going. Is Vince Young thought that that's all he needed was it. Mm-hmm. At a certain point, he stopped. He stopped continuing to realize that you got to keep improving, that you've got to keep, doing the preparation, getting there early, getting the game plans, continuing to learn about the nuances of an offense, and that's where he fell off, right? So having it is good, and I would agree that Levis looks like he's got something like that. He's got that ingredient that I can do it. I'm the guy. Give it to me. I want it. But winning in the league for over the long term takes a lot more than just that, right?
Yeah, you're gonna
like
need
with
to
Steve
have.
McNair. The thing I always admired about him is he kept improving. Every year he was better at other facets of the game. And he always had it, right? You could tell in those early years.
He always
2-minute drill,
player.
the competitiveness, that oh my gosh, he just ran over a linebacker, or he just willed his way down the field. But every year he was better at the other areas of the game.
Exactly, and that's how you want Will to get. And by the way, y'all don't get off my boy Kirk Cousins, all right? Y'all don't stay out Kirk Cousins. If he can only hope to become Kirk Cousins, okay?
I would say this. Kirk
Cousins
made a lot of
is a
money.
damn good quarterback, and he had his team on the road for a minute there before he got injured.
But I think he's a good quarterback. But when I'm talking about Kirk Cousins, I'm talking about he's quarterback.
Hey, man, y'all gonna get off my Spartans.
He's quarterback.
Y'all gonna get off my Spartans.
He's a good quarterback.
He's a good quarterback. Is he a top 10, top 5 quarterback?
That's
No.
what I'm saying. He's Kirk Cousins.
He's below that. He's probably that
He's
second
middle of
tier.
the road.
He's probably that second tier of quarterbacks. But
plain bagel.
If he turned into Kirk Cousins, that's not a bad thing.
No, I agree.
That's a damn good thing, because now I know exactly
But that's
what
not Patrick Mahomes.
I know exactly what. There's not many Patrick Mahomes. out
I
there.
know, but it's Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. I know exactly what I have in him, and I know what I need to do to elevate him a little bit more. Go get him a top flight receiver. Go get him this guy. Go get him that guy. Build up your defense. So, but I mean, what I do like about him, whether he has it or not, I love the competitive nature, and that's something that you can't take away from him, I don't think. No matter if you knock him down 100 times, he's still going to get back up and have that competitive nature. And that's what I enjoy about him. And that it seems like he's open to learning new things to become the best quarterback he can possibly become. His leadership seems like it's getting a lot better. He's still, there's some decision-making things that he needs to sort of, hey, listen, you need to, and I'm sure Charles is in there like, listen, you can't, these are throws you just can't make. You can't make them. Like the one he threw to D-Hop early in the game, the crossing route. It was a short crossing or inside slant. And I'm thinking, like, why did you throw that ball? The guy was open over there. You threw that ball and there was 3 guys around him that could have been intercepted. Things like that. He does that too many times. You gotta coach him out of that in the right way, because you don't want to coach him out of it, period, where he's scared to make throws. You just got to coach him out of it in a way where, hey, listen, I understand what you may be seeing, but you got to understand that maybe if there's 3 guys right here, somebody else is open. Somebody else is single coverage. You got to find that guy.
And I think that difference between, having the it factor and having it turn into something, the difference is what's around you.
Yes.
The difference between building and breaking bad habits is what's around you. I think that Will Levis may be developing some of these bad habits because he has no protection. Mm-hmm. So what is going to be the difference? What do the Titans need to do this offseason, kind of their offseason to-do list, to make sure that it's something culminates into something bigger? That those bad habits don't become what Will Levis ultimately becomes for the rest of his career, that they're bad habits that you can break. Because it's not too late. Mm-hmm. It's not too late. So what is on the Titans' to-do list to build around Will Levis for next season and beyond? We'll get into that coming up next. And, of course, your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. We're brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet.
he told me, like, initially he gave you some leeway, but now it's at the point where it's like, you're not taking any shorts. So how has that kind of, like, pushed you to elevate your game, or has it done so?
Yeah, no, I mean, it just pushes me to, just be better and prepare and take it to the next level because, there's no more rookie mistakes, no more free passes for any of that. Across the board, we got a lot of young guys that are playing, but we've had enough reps and enough snaps at this point where we can't let any of that fly, and we know it. Sometimes that does happen, but it's time for us to take our game to the next level, and that's what we need to do.
And that was Titans quarterback Will Levis. I think he showed something special on Monday night in Miami, but the difference between Will Levis not harnessing that it factor that it looked like he had in Miami versus going to the next level, breaking some of those bad habits that maybe we've seen him develop over the last few games, is really what's around him. Mm-hmm. So what should be the priority for the Titans in the offseason? What tools should the Titans put around Will Levis? We'll get into that, but I want to get into your phones as well. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you have a thought. Jason is on the line. What's up, Jason?
Hey, guys. The Titans should be thinking of one thing as far as Will Levis is concerned, and one thing only: building that offensive line to protect it. You can take a great offensive line and make an average running back look like a superstar. And then, obviously, on the opposing side of the ball, they need a number one shutdown corner to shut down half of the field so that then they can migrate people to the weaker side and help out if they need be. But as far as Will is concerned on the offensive side, the big splashes and all these things when they're trying to put butts in the seats out there in the stadium, they will do it more often by winning, and they're going to win when they give Will time. We already see he has the arm, he has the accuracy, he can hit people on the move and throw them open, and when he has the time to do it. But he doesn't have the time to do it most of the time, and he's rushing throws, which means that you can't send receivers out on deep routes and go routes, not giving them enough time where the defensive players are pulling all over his jersey. I hate to say it because I'm a Steeler fan and a Titan fan, but I watched the Dallas Eagle game the other night, and I haven't seen an offensive and defensive line in the league yet that matches Dallas. Dak has not been a superstar, number one, on Patrick Mahomes level, but he looked like it the other night playing behind that line.
Yeah, thank you for your call, Jason. Thank you for your call. Good call. Good thoughts. Good points. I think that should be 1A, and maybe 1B and 1C and 1D and 1E. His offensive line. This offensive line is horrible.
It is. It's a bad. But here's, I think, and I thought about this yesterday in regards to the offensive line, because I think someone called Jared Cho and was saying sort of the same thing. Like they need to, like everybody. It's not that they need. Because you gotta understand how this offensive line thing work. Everybody doesn't need to be great. Now, if you got 5 great guys, then wonderful.
Great.
But 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna have 5 like all pros. You're just not gonna, or 5 Pro Bowl guys.
I just need them to keep the quarterback upright.
Yeah, but what happens is, like, if I'm the Titans, obviously I need a left tackle. I go get me a left tackle. I already got my guard, and I find me a center. Mm-hmm. Now, this center doesn't have to be a all-pro center. He has to be a reliable center. And then I need to, do something with the right tackle. Either, Nicholas, hey, we got to figure something out. Either I go get a veteran guy just in case, and let them two battle it out and see who wins, like a veteran guy that's a good player, not just a veteran guy that's been a backup. No, a veteran guy that's probably on an expired contract somewhere else. Maybe he's in that, 33, 34 range. A team's like, well, we need to go a little bit younger. He's still a good player, but we don't want to sign him back to possibly the money he wants. You get a guy like that that's solid, that's good, let him compete, and then maybe he wins the job. But you have to, certain spots on the offensive line, you have to solidify.
Left tackle. Because
it helps the guy next to him. Peter, I think Peter's a good player, but we don't see it. Why? Because the left tackle isn't good. Mm-hmm. If you put a young B-Hop right next to Peter Skoronski, Peter would be a Pro Bowl player. then he would be. He would be an all-pro player. Why? Because those two guys will work well together. Or you put him you put Ben Jones at center. Peter Skoronski is a much better player.
Yeah, both guys to Peter Skronsky's right and left.
Exactly. That's what
that's starting tackles.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have to go out and pay top dollar for 4 new guys.
Mm-hmm.
You need to pay top dollar, either draft or get you the best left tackle in the game. You need to get you another center. And then you probably only need one guy to your right, either the guard or the tackle. You don't need both. Because what happens is they all gel together. Those good guys end up making those really good guys end up making those subpar guys a lot better, because now we learn how to communicate amongst one another. Now, as a veteran guy, I know I've seen too much. I know I need to help this kid right now. I can do a little boom and then get back to my block. I know when I can help him and when I don't need to help him. They don't have that right now. Mm-hmm. They need that. So they don't need to replace, 4 guys. They need to replace at least 2. Let's get 2 first, because they ain't going to be able to replace 4 guys. It's just not.
You don't have enough assets to do that.
Replace 2. Just give me 2 along with Peter. And the 2 I want is a left tackle and a center.
Yeah.
We'll worry about the other side. But you give me a left tackle and a center, we're good.
Yeah, and you look at what you have in-house, and you say, is Jalen Duncan a left tackle? Mm-hmm. I'm not ready to say that yet, but hey, he's going to get a chance these next few games, and let's see where he's at the end of the season.
I probably can throw him to right tackle.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what you're saying. The right side, you can maybe plug him in there. You're like, we might have something here. Say Nicholas Petit-Frere. What does he look like last year? Guy played a whole year as a rookie and went through the growing pains, and then completely they went south this year. So he got a lost season. What does he look like next year? That's another guy. Let's throw him into the mix on the right side. But like you said, you build that left side, and then you build out from there. And I love the soundbite we just played there, because you know what it reminded me of is the Barry Trotz philosophy of the Predators and the benefit of surrounding young players, important young players, with veterans that know how to play.
Exactly.
And that's where D-Hop is really helping Will Levis, right, in a lot of ways. Derrick Henry is really helping Will Levis. And I don't know why I didn't put this together during the trade deadline, but I feel dumb that I was saying, well, just let's see if we can get a draft, if you can get a high draft pick for this guy or that guy. But I think there's a big benefit, as we see, from having those guys. And I think that's something to think about for next year, too, is who are the Ryan O'Reilly, Gus Nyquist kind of guys that you want to surround Will Levis with while he grows. Give him that space to grow so he's not out there on his own with a bunch of other young guys that are all struggling together, because that's a mistake I've seen a lot of teams make.
And I think that's why bringing back Derrick Henry should be a priority for the Titans.
It's got to be at least on the list if you can make it work financially.
Yeah.
And that's the other difficult thing, is you want to bring in veterans to help your young quarterback. Well, how willing is the owner to open up the checkbook? Because good, solid veterans that are going to help your young quarterback aren't cheap. And the second thing is, there's a tough balance between bringing in veterans to help the young quarterback versus bringing in young players to grow with the young quarterback and rebuilding your young core. Because I don't want the Titans to get in a position where they're finding veteran players, expensive veteran players in free agency every 2 to 3 years. You want to start drafting well. That's why the Titans are in the position that they're in, is because they didn't draft well and they haven't signed a lot of their players to second contracts. I think that bringing in the veterans is a great bridge option as your draftees, the players that you draft, start to grow around Will Levis. I think the offensive line should be the number one priority, but you need to find a wide receiver to bring. If we can all agree that maybe Treylon Burks might not come to fruition. Maybe Treylon Burks won't end up being what John Robinson envisioned him being. Well, you're going to need to find that guy, and you want to bring that guy in to start building a rapport with Will Levis. You're probably going to need another tight end option.
And you're not going to fix it all in one offseason. I think that's another thing to keep in mind, and that is it's going to take a little time. And so how do you prioritize? I think about this, D-Mase, when you got Will Levis, the guy calls it, they've got to have this. they're not going to have enough resources to address all of what they need. But do you prioritize? I remember the Colts, it seemed like every year they had a great offense and a bad defense when they had Peyton Manning. But they kept drafting guys like Dallas Clark and Reggie Wayne in the first round. And I'm like, wait, shouldn't they be drafting defensive players? But their thought was, no, we're going to keep building around what we have, and that's a great quarterback, and we're going to have an incredible offense. And that's what and they kind of figured out the defense. But I wonder, do you draft more offense? Mm-hmm. Do you prioritize offense with where you spend your draft picks and maybe your cap space to build that fortress around Will Levis and kind of say, well, the defense is going to have to figure it out? I wonder how that works.
I mean, with a young quarterback, you're going to have to start surrounding him with things that are going to help expedite this sort of learning curve for him. So that starts with the offensive line. That starts with getting him more weapons to throw to. I think they have the right offensive coordinator, but hell, he may not be here after next year. That's another thing you got to look at. After next season, if this offense improves, his name will come up as a head coaching candidate. So let's just put that aside. But you got to do things to help build this, because the defense, from a defensive standpoint, I think they have guys in place. They're going to have to figure out if they want to keep guys. Don't know, Danico Autry, Tier Tart. They got to figure out, Fulton's not coming back, so they got to get them another corner. They got to
another thing.
The safety situation, they need to work it out, because Amani Hooker hasn't been the same. Really, it started before they traded Byard, but after they traded Byard, it just hadn't been the same.
Had a pretty good day on Monday, but I would say for the most part,
it just hasn't been, the same. And then Tyreek wasn't on the field, so I mean, that could have been a big part of it, but.
Everyone looks much better when an elite wide receiver isn't playing.
When he's out of the field. But, I mean, they need to solidify this offensive line somehow, some way. They have to I think they need to go get a veteran tight end too, and they're going to have to get another playmaker at receiver and figure out what they're going to do with Derrick Henry, because it has to be more than a 1-year deal with Derrick Henry. To me, it does, because if it's just a 1-year deal, Derrick Henry leaves spending what would it be, his 10th year next year, or a 9th year? Next year will be his 9th year. No, that's like lame duck. It's like, okay, you're only going to sign me a 1-year deal? No, it has to be a multi-year deal. It has to be at least a 2-year deal.
It's going to be an unbelievably
It's going to be tough.
Decision.
It's going to be tough and interesting.
Because it's both sides. It's what does he want? What does the team want? And can they find the middle ground? Because like what you're saying, he might sit there and go, I'm not sure I want to sign up for just being the security blanket.
For 1 year.
And I see what Tajay Spears is doing. And, he is going places, I think, Tajay Spears, and they got to find out what he is. So,
exactly.
If I'm the Titans,
would Derrick Henry rather go somewhere else where maybe there's the team's in a different place and they want to use him differently? He's going to have choices, right?
I think
especially if he's flexible with what he's willing to make financially, right? Because that's going to be the sacrifice he's going to have to make. He's making the big money for a tailback, and those days are probably over. He wants to make he wants to be paid what he's worth, but his role is going to change regardless. So he's going to have some say in this, right?
If I'm the Titans, I would be encouraged from the Titans' perspective by what the running back market was this past offseason. And I would tell Derrick Henry, look, if you want to go find a better offer somewhere else, be my guest. Because the market for running backs, I think, has proven that, look, not a lot of money, nor is there a lot of priority, especially bringing in a running back that's going to be 30 at that point. And I truly believe that there is no team in the National Football League that would value Derrick Henry more than the Tennessee Titans
Exactly.
would. But if Derrick wants more than the Titans are willing to offer from the Titans, go.
If it's
investigate and go see what your value would be in the market. And if it's not what you want, we would love to have you.
Exactly. It's if the market's for Derrick, say if Derrick wants, I don't know, 7 per year. Hey, if you can get it, get it. Be my guest. Say if he wants 7.
I was going to say 2-year deal, $6 million each.
The market says no. We're only going to give you. We only are willing to give you 3 per year. We may give you $6 million to sign.
A lot of incentives probably in there.
If I'm the Titans, I come back and say, you know what? I give you 4 or 5 to stay with us. Make it a 2-year deal. 2-year deal, $12 million. Some of it in signing bonus. Your base salary this is what's going to be, and maybe tie some incentives to it. I think that's a better deal because to me, you don't want to go somewhere just for 1 year and you're on the sort of the backside. Even though I don't consider Derrick Henry the backside of his career, he still can run. He's still a hell of a runner, but you're really on the backside of your career. So do you want to go somewhere for 1 year or stay with us, for a little bit better deal, but it's a 2-year deal?
Tom in Nashville texts in, says it's a slap in the face to tell Derrick Henry to go find a better offer. Do you feel like that?
No, it's not. That's what all good GMs.
It's a business.
Go up the street to Baltimore. Go up the street to New England. Those 2 GMs, that's what they tell their players. Listen, we know what you've done for us, and we appreciate that. But if you think you can get a better deal, go. We don't want to stop that. Go. But if you can't, this is what we're offering. So it's not a slap in the face. It's business. Like we understand who you are as a player, but we're going to give you if you think you're worth that much money, then go. See if you can get it. If you can't, then this is the deal we have for you. We're sweeten it a little bit, but we're not going to pay you, 10 times more than what the market says you're worth. We're not going to do that.
Coming up next, I decided Jared versus Joe yesterday on this, but I need to bring in an expert.
Hot.
I need to bring in an expert on it, and we'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
I listened to it this morning.
Hey, let's talk Loan Pronto for a moment. This is great news for homeowners to start the new year. Interest rates have plunged, so mortgage rates are back down from the nosebleed highs that they've been. So Loan Pronto wants you to know that they can get you out of that 7 or 8% rate that you got stuck with. So I want you to pay attention. If you've got a house that you purchased with a rate over 7%, now is the time to refinance because it's going to save you money month after month. So even if you recently did it, think it again because Loan Pronto is going to put you in a better spot. Get your financial house in order for 2024. We've talked about that theme, and this is a new way to do it because of this sudden drop in rates. Loan Pronto has the most competitive rates out there, and they can help you. So call them at 615-499-5780 to get started. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
So I awarded Joe Rexroth the win in Jared versus Joe yesterday, but I thought in order for me to really feel good about that, I need to consult an expert, somebody that would know. So the question that I asked Jared and Joe was about Treylon Burks. Should the Titans be ready to give up on Burks? What's the plan with Treylon Burks? So this was the response from Jared and Joe yesterday.
You know what I love about this question, Caroline, is it gives me like these delightful flashbacks of Jared takes. One of them was what was it? What was it? Treylon Burks is more explosive than AJ Brown? Is that what it was?
I think that Burks has more talent.
I thought a great one.
But again, talent.
Fantastic.
I mean, talent.
Oh, really? Talent. So you're sticking with that?
How can we say he doesn't have talent?
Oh my
when
God.
he's never freaking plays?
Oh no, you're right. No, I'm sure he has more talent than AJ Brown. Just
well,
why for introducing Treylon Burks?
Why are we not?
Look at this guy.
Hold on. Why are we not going forward with Treylon Burks as a priority? You and I. What's the reason, Joe?
Jared.
What's the reason, Joe? Answer the question.
I don't get to interrogate me on your idiotic take.
You're saying that because the reason why we're not investing in Treylon Burks or prioritizing Treylon Burks is because he's not dependable to stay healthy. That has nothing to do with his ability.
Yeah. That's true. Now let's isolate his ability and forget the health. You said that he has more talent than AJ Brown. Oh my God.
So if I ever have high blood pressure, I will tell my doctor it's because of Wednesdays at 5 o'clock, and that's just a snippet of exactly why. So I awarded Joe the win because I said, Jared, I really don't know what you mean when you say that Treylon Burks has more talent than A.J. Brown. I think he's a talented player, absolutely. I just don't know what that means. D-Mase, I defer to you.
Jared could have did a better job at explaining why he thinks Treylon Burks has more talent or just as much talent as A.J. Brown. Because there's some truth into what he's saying. I think people, and maybe this is what Joe's looking at, just the production. And, not AJ, but Treylon, having his injuries that he's had. And there's nothing he can do about those. So when it comes up, it's just like one of those shock and awe things. Like, oh, definitely, no, he's definitely not more talented than him. Yeah, based upon numbers, yeah, you can shut down an argument and say, listen, A.J. Brown had 1,600 yards last year, double-digit touchdowns. What did the rookie do? Nothing. He's on pace to have 1,400 yards, 1,500 yards again, almost double digits. What is the rookie doing? Not much.
I don't even think Treylon Burks is going to have 15 catches.
Exactly. So you're looking at it based upon numbers. You're looking at it based upon stats. Stats doesn't always tell anything. There are guys that had better stats than me, but I would run circles around them in regards to being a receiver. And I was more talented. But there were guys that were more talented to me. There were guys on our roster. Kevin Dyson, more talented than me. I have no problem with saying it. 6'2", can run, really good hands. I learned things from him running routes that I would just sit back and watch Kevin run routes. Like trying to figure out how does a guy that big run routes like a small person. I need to add some of what he's doing to my repertoire. I understood. In Baltimore, there were guys that had more talent, but talent will not always make you the best. There's something within you. That's what separates. There were guys more talented than Jerry Rice. There was. But there was something in Jerry Rice that they didn't have. I look at it. Tyreek Hill is more talented than Jerry Rice. Pound for more talented, but there was something in Jerry Rice that nobody else has. They just don't. I look at guys like Jimmy Smith. Talented. He had that one thing that a lot of guys just didn't have. There may have been guys that were better than him. There were guys that were better than the playmaker, the Hall of Famer in Dallas. But you know what he had? He had something that somebody else didn't have. That's why he's a Hall of Famer. You know, that's why Irvin is a Hall of, because he wasn't the most he probably wasn't even as talented as Alvin Harper that had played alongside him. But Alvin Harper didn't have that one thing that the playmaker had. Traylon just may be. That's not like a asinine statement. It's not.
Do you
what
think
Jared
he is more
said.
talented than AJ Brown?
Well, let me weigh in real
Okay,
quick because I agree with 100% of what you're saying in the whole picture thing, because there is more than just that. But even with that as the backdrop, A.J. Brown is still more talented than Traylon Burks. I haven't seen it. The way A.J. Brown catches in a phone booth and can be immediately accelerating past a defensive back, the run after the catch, that is unique. That was evident from pretty much day one that he was here. I haven't seen anything close to A.J. Brown, talent-wise, pure talent-wise, with Traylon Burks. I'm not saying Traylon Burks is not talented. A.J. Brown was a special talent from day one who only got better, and the results showed it. So I'm taking the availability out of it. I'm looking at A.J. Brown as a talent in his best, and Burks, what I've seen at his best. And I would still easily take A.J. Brown. So Jared is crazy, and D-Mase, I don't know what got into you this morning, even trying to justify Jared's things. I'm more in Joe's corner just laughing it off, saying, where did this even come from?
It's the candle.
It's the candle. It's absolutely the candle.
You have to look at it from
what did you put in that candle?
From this standpoint, you know, Jared says AJ is not a top 5 receiver. I think AJ it's you know, you do your the hell with who's the top 5. He is one of the best receivers in the National Football League. There are 31 teams out there, 32 teams, well 31 because Philly already has them. 31 teams that would love to have him on their team. Even if Cincinnati, they got Higgins and Chase, they would love to have AJ Brown.
Maybe just 30 because one of those teams had him.
Yeah, you're right.
Traded.
Titans, yeah, you're right. But they wish they had him back now. So I'm not into who's the top 5. He's just a damn good receiver. He can go on any team in the National Football League, regardless of who they have, and be a starter. Just like Chase can, Jefferson can, Tyreek Hill can, Mike Evans can. That's who people keep on forgetting about is Mike Evans. To me, Mike Evans is the dude. Behind Tyreek Hill is Mike Evans. And we can argue that all day. I'll shoot you down all day.
Over Chase, Jefferson?
Because his consistency. The only man in the NFL that has had, I think, other than possibly Jerry Rice, had more thousand. Since he stepped foot on the football field in the NFL, he's been a 1,000-yard guy. And he's still a 1,000-yard guy. And he's about to get a hell of a paycheck because this kid can just flat out play. But I'm going to put Mike Evans to the side because people don't look at Mike Evans like I do. I look at him as just a pure, like he's a wide receiver. He's pure wide receiver. There's nothing he can't do. But when you're looking at AJ and Traylon, AJ has proven that he has the talent. Traylon hasn't proven it yet, even though he does have it. See, that's the difference. I will argue you up and down all day in regards to that. Talent and production always don't match. It just doesn't. AJ has remember what I talked about yesterday about it's that one thing that I don't think Traylon has? It's just AJ has it.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with talent. Now, if you're asking me to pick a guy, I'm going to pick AJ. Hell yeah, because AJ's proven to me he can do it. Traylon hasn't proven it yet, but Traylon has the talent to do it. He has immense talent to do it, but it hasn't. People were arguing about AJ Brown his first year. Let's not forget, it wasn't all peaches and cream. People were mad at him because he was dropping. But I remember the drop he had on slant, and it ended the game. They went to him. 4th and 3 or 4th and 4, a slant. People were eating him up. Oh, he can't catch the ball. And now look at him. So don't miss me with that other stuff, okay? Because y'all were on AJ because he was dropping balls, but AJ figured it out. He started getting more comfortable. And now, look at who he is now. Sometimes the production and the potential or whatever doesn't match up sometimes.
But
and that's
AJ
what's
still
happening.
had a whole heck of a lot of production in his rookie season.
He did have
1,000-yard
production.
season.
But you got to understand this too. I'll tell you on the other side. I ain't gonna worry
Well,
about it.
we will
I'll
get
tell
to
you.
silly
You need to
underdog
concentrate on
picks.
your underdog picks.
Yeah,
And
I'm so fired up the last
Well,
2 days with these wide receivers thing.
Yeah.
I argue. I want Joe. I want Jarrett. I want both of them to sit in this seat, and we can discuss wide receivers.
Wide receiver 101 with Professor D-Mase.
Exactly. And
Gonna
you
take
can't
you to
tell me
school
anything.
today.
Absolutely. So, there we go.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
There's no need to fear. Underdog is here.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios. It is now time for our final silly underdog picks of the season. But before I pass it over to Willy Donick, our esteemed commissioner, we do have another receiver on the line. And I would like to get his insight. We've got D-Mase fired up, Chris.
Yes.
Who is more talented, A.J. Brown or Traylon Burks?
But see, listen, they're both talented. They're both talented. I just think that this is just my opinion, and I'm looking on the outside looking in. I just think that A.J. Brown right now has a little more dog in him than
Thank you,
Traylon
Chris.
Burks. That's all. And I think that, and I'm not saying that Traylon Burks doesn't have no talent. Traylon Burks has a lot of talent. You better believe it. I just think that we get so mad on how he started early. Yeah, he struggled a little bit. A.J. Brown struggled a little bit early. So we can't say that. We got to let this thing play out and say, okay, you know what?
let's see how he does later on, in his career.
I will send
Thank you, Chris.
And then another thing, D-Mase, man, we had this. Listen, can I get on my soapbox for a doggone time? When I came in the league, got me all upset. D-Mase, I averaged 23.5 yards a catch my rookie season. I dropped one doggone ball my third season, and they said I can't catch.
But hey, Chris, and that's what I say. You know how it is. Like, people keep on pointing to Traylon Burks' drop. I'm like, he's only dropped 3 balls.
He didn't get targeted very much.
Mace, he dropped 2.
It's like, but we have this narrative that he drops passes all the time when he doesn't.
Okay, Mace. When we can, you don't got me all hot, man. Dang, I'm trying to settle down. But Mace, you remember 1998 to 1999, when they brought Yancey Davis in. What did they say? They said we didn't have no receivers. And we're like, what?
Like, well, we do have them.
What are we doing? I mean, we just can't catch at all. So when we drop one ball or 2 balls, then people say we ain't no good. We at this highest point because we can make some plays.
Yeah, it was. Chris, we could talk about this all day, but I know the commissioner got here.
Can I chime in on one thing?
You know what this is? This is Chase. This is Chris, just trying to put off the fact that they have no chance of catching teammates in the underdogs.
Well, that's true.
They are enjoying the opportunity to change the subject.
Oh, absolutely.
But here's my thing on this whole subject. And Chris said it. Chris just said it, and Derek just said it too. The difference is maybe the talent is there for Traylon Burks. He didn't have dog in him. AJ has dog in him. You can't teach that. And you two are the ones that taught me that. You cannot teach dog to a player, receiver, quarterback, whatever. Kelly will back me up on this. You either got it or you don't. He doesn't have it.
And let me make sure I clarify myself. Being a dog doesn't mean that you're throwing tables and throwing chairs. I mean, that's not being a dog. Being a dog is when you got 2 safeties about to hit you in the mouth and you figure out a way to catch the ball. That's what being a dog.
And then you take the hit.
And then you take the hit. Like D-Mase. D-Mase is a tough dude. I mean, he's a tough dude. He got a bad haircut, but he's a tough dude. I'm just kidding.
I noticed he was wearing a hat today.
Hey, I got a hat.
Bad hair day?
Yeah, I told y'all I'm moving. I'm getting me a whole new set of hair. I'm going to move to another state, like Dakotas, like Montana somewhere, one of the Dakotas.
You don't like cold. You wouldn't like it.
Hey, I give me a big old fireplace, man.
Nice little beachside, little cottage
I'm gonna
in
give
Maine.
me a big thing of hair, and I'm gonna get dreadlocks and everything.
Well, if you come with your hairline gonna be back like Jerry Rice had his. Maybe he had his braids. If you come back like that, you're gonna be kicked off the show, Mister. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh, man. Go ahead, Commish. Go ahead, Commish.
Okay.
Sorry.
Ah, yes. A precursor to some fun that we're about to have. This is your commissioner speaking. It is time for the Silly Underdog Final Draft. There will be 3 bowl games picked by each of the 6 contestants today, and we're going to continue to have some fun here. So, our contest being brought to you by
only one
volunteer.
person's having fun, Willie.
Volunteer hose and gasket. Yes, D-Mase. If you are just joining us, you've been on a sabbatical for the last 13 weeks or so. D-Mase has dominated this competition, and he is just trying to close it out. But it's not over.
Can you say that again, Willie?
It's never over till it's over, but he has dominated the competition. Starting with picking Deion Sanders' first win against TCU on opening day on the first weekend, and he has not looked back. So he is trying to cap off a wire-to-wire win. Here are the regular season standings before we make the picks. D-Mase has 59.5 points, 5-9 on the season. So he has made the most of the wins. He's got some big wins. Kelly Holcomb is in second place. He was the only one to win in our last round of picks. He had, two people won, but Kelly had the biggest win. He had Washington, the 9.5-point dog against Oregon in the Pac-12 title game. So with that win, he's closed to within 23.5. He's 5-9. 36 points. So 59.5 to 36 is where it stands. Plaz got a win, taking Bama in the SEC championship game, so he moves into third place. So, Plaz, you're on the medal stand.
Yes, Willie, and thank you for that. I think comparing my point total to D-Mace's is A.J. Brown to Traylon Burks. Did I hear earlier that Traylon Burks is very close to A.J. Brown.
In pure talent.
Just
in pure
talent.
is the question. That's the question.
Well, is that talent in the witness protection program?
That talent's been hurt, and this darn, I'm blaming it on the head coach. Yeah. That's what I'm doing.
No, I agree. I'm on Plaza's side. I'm still in AJ's camp, regardless of what category we're talking here.
This isn't even close.
Yes, it is. It's close.
No, it isn't.
Commissioner, you got to stop this stuff. Come on, man.
We need to table this discussion. You guys need to focus on your picks, especially you guys in the bottom four. My goodness. Yeah. Plaz with 11.5 points is in third place. Caroline, 1-13 with 10 points.
Oh, way to go.
Chase, 1-13, 3.5 points. And Mr. Sanders, still looking for his first win. And guess who has the first pick in the draft? He is 0-14 after his title. Last year, he has gone from penthouse to outhouse.
See,
that's awful.
I look at my silly underdog picks year as I'm Yancey Thigpen, paid a lot of money, had a lot of hope, and I just didn't do anything. But I dress nice.
All right, so here's how it's going to work. We're going to snake back and forth in the 3 rounds. We're going to take all of the bowl games that from now, and they start on Saturday, I think, of the first couple, and they go all the way through to the championship game. And obviously you don't know who's in the championship game, so you can't pick that one. But all the way through the end, you will have all of those choices. Chris Sanders will have the first pick based on finishing last.
Right.
So Chris has the first pick.
Just to clarify,
Chase
that's
second.
why Chris is picking first.
Chase second, Caroline third, Plaz, Kelly, and then D-Mase. Then in round 2, it reverses. D-Mase will have the first pick in the second round. We go back around. And then the third round, we snake back. So, Chris, you have picks 1, 12, and 13. Chase, you have 2, 11, and 14. Caroline, 3, 10, and 15. Plaz, 4, 9, 16. Kelly, 5, 8, and 17. And D-Mase, 6, 7, and 18. So you got to do it with lower picks.
Okay. Thanks.
These are the overall picks. There are 18 total bowls that we're going to pick.
Can I say something before we get started?
Yes,
here?
Kelly, you've been very quiet and patient. Yes.
Nobody else has a chance in this but me. So can Chris not pick all the big time games? I know how you're going to do it, Chris. You're 0 whatever, dude. Don't do that. Just try to get on the board, Hoss. Okay.
Oh man, see, why are you so mean to me this morning, man?
I'm just saying, y'all have gotten upset about this Traylon Burks and A.J. Brown stuff. Like y'all,
hey, Chris, pick your games.
Y'all are listening to people that never played, so quit worrying about it.
Hey. Well, who won it last year?
Who cares? Last year doesn't matter.
Should I pick my game, Mr. Commissioner guy?
Did we pick
Mr.
your game?
Commissioner?
He said, can he pick his game?
Oh, yes. Well, let's get the proper introduction.
My theme music, man. They ain't looking for me no more. Come on.
I think you might need to go back to Lionel Richie, Chris.
Nah, because they ain't looking for me no more.
No, Lionel Richie actually sent a note to the station asking Chris not to use his songs anymore.
He
said, I only want a winner.
Oh, wow. That breaks my heart.
That's just
guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take Eastern Michigan over South Alabama. Now, take that, Kelly.
No, that's good. You go ahead and take that one. That one's good.
I was going to go with Liberty in Oregon, so take that, mister.
Ooh.
But I'm going with
you can have that one, too.
Eastern Michigan is a 16-point dog against South Alabama, and if you know off the top of the head what bowl it is, I congratulate you.
I'm just looking at it.
The 68 Ventures Bowl.
Hancock Bowl.
Oh.
Hancock Stadium.
George, can you set the scene, the atmosphere at the 68 Ventures Bowl in Normal, Illinois?
It's going to be cold as hell. Gosh. I think I'd have opted out of that one.
That's one thing Derek did get right. It'll be cold. There will be roped-off sections where people are not allowed to sit. And Ms. Lou will televise the game, and they'll have a spot shadow where they turn on like a flashlight and make it sound like they've isolated on something.
Will they have a pregame show, George?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, that's what I thought.
No pregame.
This is a budgetary.
Yes.
It's a low-budget game.
Yes, it is on. Somehow it's on ESPN December the 23rd. If you'd like to tune in and see if Chris Sanders can get on the board with that pick. All right.
You guys are mean.
We move on to pick number 2, Chase McCabe.
My hands on my.
All right. We're just throwing darts at the board at this point. So with my first pick, I am going to stay in the state and go down I-40 West. Give me the Memphis Tigers against Iowa State at the Liberty Bowl. Plus 8.5.
Good pick.
I feel like Memphis and Iowa State play in the Liberty Bowl every single year.
They probably do.
How many times, and Plaz, maybe you have a feel for this, how many times has Memphis actually played in the Liberty Bowl? Not for a home game, but actually played in the bowl game? More than once, I would guess, right?
Twice, Willie.
Not that many times, huh?
No, they really haven't.
Memphis is an 8.5-point dog in the Liberty Bowl, which is where they played their games, against Iowa State. Iowa State is the favorite in that one. That's Friday, December 29th at 2:30. Okay, we move on. Caroline Fenton is in the 3-hole.
All right, I'm taking it to the great state of Texas. It's not a massive underdog, but it's an underdog nonetheless. Give me Oklahoma State to beat Texas A&M in the Texas Bowl.
So they're going to beat them basically in their backyard.
Exactly. Yes. That's that new coach energy.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Or lack of coach energy there is.
And now I'm trying to hunt this bowl game down. Where is it? Early? No.
It is December 27th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm on the wrong page.
Come on, Willy.
Come on, Commish.
Let's get on the same page, Willie.
Let's get on the same page. Oh, heck. You're just going to have to tell me, Caroline. I'll write it down. I'll take your word for it.
2.5 points.
2.5 points in the Texas Bowl.
Chris?
Oh, I ain't got no points, so I can't say nothing.
Yeah,
I was about to say.
All right, we move on to Plaz with the 4th pick, trying to maintain his place on the medal stand in 3rd place.
How far behind Kelly am I?
George, you're way behind.
Hey, Willie.
Yeah.
How far behind Kelly am I?
Oh, behind Kelly, you are 24.5 behind Kelly.
Oh, good Lord. That's sort of like the gap between two receivers we've discussed. Give me liberty or give me death.
Ah, okay. Liberty.
Somebody said, dang it.
Liberty, and that's one that I think Kelly might have had on the radar there. Liberty.
No. Yeah,
no, interesting. Okay.
No.
Liberty is undefeated, 23rd ranked, and they get the shot. They represent the little guy on January 1st in the Fiesta Bowl against Oregon, a 17.5-point dog. And so give me Liberty or give me Ducks. George takes Liberty. All right. So we move on to Kelly with his first pick in the first round here.
We can skin a buck and run a trot line, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. Country boy can survive. Country folks can survive.
I'm just so proud of my Titans. Tighten up.
Give me, guys, give me the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina to beat San Jose State.
Okay. Coastal Carolina is a 10-point dog against San Jose State, and that game is the Hawaii Bowl in Honolulu, December 23rd. That game used to be played on Christmas Eve, did it not, for a long time?
I don't know. I never watched it.
You must have been very busy on Christmas Eve. I've been to some Christmas Eve parties where, like, can I slide off of here? And is there a game on? And that's like the only game on. Now I don't even have that going for me. All right. So Coastal Carolina, Kelly, his plan to get past D-Mase. He needs a big, big bowl season. Now, it is time for D-Mase. He has back-to-back picks to try to put this thing away and seal the title.
Nick, give me my theme music.
Go green, go white.
I like it. All right. I got
Both
two
mouthy.
games here. Give me. Dang it, which one should I go with first? You know what? Give me Kentucky over Clemson. Kentucky's a 5-point dog in this one. Give me Kentucky.
Okay.
It's the Gator Bowl.
That once upon a time, Plaz will remember this well. Once upon a time, Clemson came into Nashville to play Kentucky in the Music City Bowl and got thumped. And Plaz and I were doing the game. Remember that, Plaz?
Oh, it was broadcast excellence.
It was broadcast excellence. It was actually a great crowd at the stadium down there. But
it was all Kentucky. Remember, it was Andre Woodson.
Kentucky's
quarterback.
And who was it? Was Thunder and Lightning for Clemson. It was C.J. Spiller, and who was the other guy? I don't remember. They had two great running backs, and they got taken to school. So
what year was that?
Oh, I don't. That was a long time ago. The years are running together, Plaz.
If any of you would like a tape of the game for 1995, just contact me.
Don't beta me.
Also, can I get 100 CDs for $1 too?
Yes, you can. Maybe less.
Exactly.
So D-Mase takes Kentucky with his first pick in Jacksonville. And your next pick, sir?
I'm going to stay in Florida with this pick too. Give me Florida State over Georgia. I believe in Florida State's defense, and they're getting their second quarterback back, their backup quarterback back. The committee was dead wrong with this one, leaving them out because they were not going to play with their freshman. They were going to play with their backup quarterback. So I'm going with Florida State. I don't even know if Brock Bowers is playing. But even if he is playing, you got to be cautious in that game. You know, you don't want to get hurt going into the draft. So give me Florida State.
It's become a big X factor is who ends up playing.
Exactly.
So I'm not sure we have the full list yet. We're still a long way to wait. So D-Mase takes Florida State 14-point dog against Georgia in the Orange Bowl.
Or as I like to call it, we don't want to be here. We'd rather be in the College Football Playoff Bowl.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
The Pissed Off for Greatness Bowl.
Yeah.
Yes. So somebody's going to win. So D-Mase says, why not the Noles? Here we go to Kelly for his second pick.
All right, give me the Hokies of Virginia Tech to beat Tulane, who's going through a coaching change.
Aha.
There's a problem here.
What's that?
Tulane's the underdog.
Doesn't say.
No,
doesn't
Tulane
say-
is plus 7.5.
No.
Yeah, they are the
Tulane-
underdog.
That's the underdog.
Yeah, they are the underdog. Yes, you're right.
Now,
How about
George,
duh?
we've had
George,
this as a violation
Kelly once
before.
again trying to circumvent the system here.
I'm just
I
sitting
did.
here.
Oh, wow.
Come on, Kelly. I'm on your side, and you. Seriously.
Hold on. Are y'all sure about this? Because
I'm looking at it.
Says Virginia Tech is a 7.5-point dog to Tulane.
I'm looking at
Not what I'm
CBS
looking.
Sports, and Tulane is plus 7.5.
Yeah.
This
Can I-
is a matter of integrity.
Them cricket phones, man. Get out that cricket.
Well, hey, keep the same game then. It doesn't matter. Keep the same game.
Okay,
No.
you've just switched hats. You've just switched hats. Now you've completely changed your
Same
thinking.
game,
Coaching
yeah.
change. Forget about the coaching
game.
change. It's all about
Fine,
Tulane
yeah,
now.
It's all about
Forget about it,
Tulane
yeah.
now.
And he has taken a pick from somebody that actually knew who the underdog was.
Tulane.
George, how can you allow this?
Very sound thinking.
Well, first of all, I'm not the commissioner. It's his duty to slap some sort of, I think, penalty for it's like the NBA with Draymond Green. They really nailed him because it's the latest in the series.
The latest in the series, yes.
Latest in the series, Willie. What do you think is the proper punishment?
I think the proper punishment is double secret probation for Mr.
That's fine. That's cool. I'm cool.
Kelly
with it.
Holcomb.
Go ahead.
All right. Let's
How
take
about a public reprimand?
a public reprimand,
That's
I think.
what's happening right now, George.
Okay.
Excuse me?
We're going to tar and feather you and make you walk up Broadway. Should we do that?
Consider this a public reprimand for Kelly Holcomb for a second time in his career.
It's the second time?
It's the second time. It happened.
Oh, he's Draymond
a few years
Green.
ago.
He's Draymond Green.
Draymond's got like a list of it's so long.
No, he's still Draymond Green. We're going to make him Draymond Green. So we tar and feather and you got to walk up Broadway, brother.
Attempting
All
to
right?
pick
Let me
I'm
review
cool with
the
a favorite.
first violation. The first violation
Okay with it.
years ago, he picked a game that had started 20 minutes earlier. It was one of those.
I was trying to get away with it. I mean, what do you expect?
That did happen.
In
that
fairness to Kelly, he truly didn't know it, but I had a hell of a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, his team was up 14-0 when he picked him, and he didn't realize the game had already started.
And Willie didn't either, and George goes, now hold on a second.
George was watching the game. Yeah.
That was funny.
That was good. And that was controversial, too, because Floyd Reese was saying, you do not get that game. Because they did end up winning. And Floyd did not want to give him the victory at the end of the season.
I don't blame him.
He didn't want to give it to him. So that was a controversy for the best. So maybe there is a little Draymond Green.
It is a little
So that
Draymond
could be
Green.
the third
Absolutely.
offense. Yes, trying to pick a favorite.
Draymond Kelly.
All right. All right, so let's blow through it. We move on to Plaz for his second pick.
Willie, a special notation for those who are out there looking to make money. Boise State is my next selection. It's a book it. They're better than UCLA right now.
Is that a gift to the people?
That one.
Ooh, that could be a gift to the
work.
people. All right, if I can find it, I can tell you what the line is here. Boise State.
It's under bowl games.
Bowl games. Yes.
Did you look there, Willie?
Come on, Commish, get him
I'm
off of you.
slow on the draw today.
Get him
They're
off
not
you,
all
Commish.
listed on the same page on my draft sheet here. Good grief. Where the heck is this game? Is this game? There we go.
Some of us have radio stations to run.
I'm telling
there,
you,
Willie,
I'm slow on the draw. My bad. That's an
Commish,
offense.
get him off you.
Slap myself on the wrist. Boise State is a
Meetings.
4.5-point dog in the LA Bowl at SoFi Stadium against UCLA. How many UCLA fans are going to go to that game? That's an interesting question.
UCLA
here to tell you
fans
we don't
don't
care.
go to any of their games.
Let alone
Isn't that the deal
across
where
the
Jimmy
town.
Kimmel does some stuff.
It's on ABC, so that would make sense.
Yeah, I think blow out Kimmel and put Nate Bargatze in.
Probably a better idea. All right, moved to Caroline for her second round.
This might not be the most popular pick in town. Don't care. Defense wins championships. Give me Iowa over the Vols.
You know, I
in the
looked at
Citrus
I
Bowl.
thought about that one, too. I'm like, man, Iowa has a hell of a defense.
If I get the D-Mase stamp of approval, then I feel
like
good
that
about
one, man. They may not be able to score no point. It may be Minnesota and Oakland. Not Oakland,
it
but
could be 3-0.
Vegas. Yeah, it could be 3-0.
Very well could be 3-0.
Yeah,
That is going to be interesting. Iowa's defense against Tennessee's offense. Tennessee playing down in Orlando in the Citrus Bowl. Iowa is an 8-point dog.
I
So
thought that was now the Pop-Tart Bowl. Is that not the bowl with the edible mascot?
well, the Citrus Bowl, it's still
You
called the
can't
Citrus
spell-
Bowl,
you can't-
but
you
the
can't spell
stadium is now
Pop-Tart Citrus Bowl?
the Camping World Stadium is now what it's called. The same stadium that I lost the field goal kicking contest in 1983 when I was 12. I could have gone to the Super Bowl.
Well,
I missed the kick.
You can't spell Citrus
12 years
without
old.
UT.
That's right. All right, we move on to Chase McCabe for his second round pick.
Oh, finally, I get to pick again.
Yeah, sorry, Chase.
I'm going to go with Marshall over UTSA.
Dang gummit.
Marshall.
Why Kelly give that evil laugh?
Marshall is a
Makes me
13 point. Anytime it's double digits, Chris gets upset. And same with Kelly because he needs a lot of points. Marshall is a 13-point dog against UT San Antonio. It's had a really nice year this season. They've even been involved in some of our picks earlier in this season. So Marshall is the pick. We move on to Chris Sanders for his final two
College.
picks.
You got
Boston
two, Chris.
College.
Come on.
You get two.
I got two. Boston
Yeah.
College.
You can't take them twice.
Oh. That's cold, man. Yeah. Did somebody pick UNLV? Dang gummit.
UNLV?
Yeah, I got UNLV and Boston College.
You can't take them twice.
Did you say it twice? Man, I'm so confused right now. So confused right now. Okay, let's start all over. Okay.
Okay,
Number one,
Boston College. Boston
Yes.
College is an 11-point dog.
Okay.
Against SMU.
Take that.
And that is the Fenway Bowl at Fenway Park.
What is that?
Damn, it's
Well,
gonna be cold.
the Red Sox will be
you
out
catch
there.
on your foot. You got to see that. Okay. UNLV.
Okay, now where is UNLV? Let's see.
They're going against Kansas.
Yeah, I saw that one.
It's
Thought
under
about that
bowl
one too.
games.
It's under bowl games. All right, UNLV is the pick, and that will be. I can't find it.
Willie.
I can't find it.
Plus 12.5.
Plus 12.5.
6, 7, 8.
I should have had a better system of finding these games. I needed to delegate.
How long have you been doing this? You don't have a better system yet?
You know, the commission's still working off a floppy disk. Come on now.
Well, we were talking about betas earlier today.
You know that.
Goodness gracious. All right, UNLV is the pick. I'll get it.
He'll get
I'll
it.
get it squared. All right, we move on.
UCLA, you said? Oh, new UNLV. Oh, my bad.
UNLV. All right, we move on to Chase.
I may regret this because there's information we don't know yet, but I don't care anymore. Caroline, I'm sorry. Give me Wisconsin plus 8.5.
What information do you not know?
Well, if Jaden Daniels is going to play or not.
Oh, so the backup quarterback that would probably start at half of all of the SEC schools would play?
Yeah, maybe.
Should have consulted with me before that one, Chaser.
I didn't.
You're a loss.
Give me Wisconsin.
Okay, Wisconsin is the pick.
Plus 8.5. Will.
Plus 8.5 against LSU. All right, we move on to Caroline for her final pick.
Has anyone taken the Las Vegas Bowl yet? We're getting to the point where we're just getting down to the nitty-gritty here. I will take Northwestern over Utah.
Okay. And, Willie, that is 12.5 in that UNLV Kansas game.
Northwestern, Utah, 6.5.
Northwestern by how many?
6.5.
6.5. And that brings us to Plaz for his final pick. Then it'll be Kelly and D-Mase to round it out.
Willie, just to make things really quick, I'm going to take Oregon State, and they're a 31-point dog.
You are trying to deceive the commissioner, and that is definitely a violation.
This commissioner is clueless.
We're struggling, okay? We're on the
They
struggle
are a
bus.
6.5-point dog. Oregon State is. They just lost their coach, too, so.
It's under bowl games.
It's Friday the 29th, Willie. That's
Oregon State. And that brings us to Kelly for his second to last pick.
Give me. Let me see if I can get it right. But give me. You know what? I never do this because I don't pick middle. But I'm going to say, give me Troy. Troy to beat Duke.
Okay. Troy over Duke. And D-Mase, that brings you to the final pick.
Final pick. All right. I'm going to go a little bit off the board here. Give me, man, who do I want? This team or that team? Did anybody pick the Old Dominion?
No.
Western Kentucky?
Good pick.
Give me Western Kentucky over Old Dominion. It's 2.5 points. They're a 2.5-point dog.
Western Kentucky over Old Dominion. That is 2.5 points, and that is in the famous Toastery Bowl.
Yeah,
Jerry
right
Richardson
there,
Stadium.
That one right there.
The
that
Toast
one right there
Bowl.
probably
What
puts
is
me out.
Toastery, the famous.
Is that like a...
Not just the Toastery Bowl, the famous Toastery Bowl.
Ah,
If
okay.
it's so famous, how come we don't know about it?
That's a
Exactly.
good question. And somehow I found it quicker than I did most of the other bowl games. The famous Toastery Bowl.
Toastery Bowl. Is that
Is
some
it
type
sold out?
That's a good question.
Yeah, they had a it was like a raffle, and the first 5 people in the door get the tickets, so they sold out.
Oh, there were only 5 seats available?
Yeah, there's only 5 seats available. They got everything else
pretty good
tarped
time.
off.
Okay. I think I'm almost caught up. Let's quickly review, and then we'll sayonara out of here and wish everybody luck. Final Silly Underdog draft. Remember, We've got Derek Mason, 59.5.
You damn right.
Kelly, 36. Plaz, 11.5. Those are the top three. Caroline, 10. Chase, 3.5. Chris looking to get points of any kind.
The only person I'm worried about is Kelly.
Chris takes Eastern Michigan over South Alabama for 16. Chris also takes BC for 11 against SMU, and UNLV 12.5 against Kansas. Those are his three. Chase takes Memphis 8.5 against Iowa State. He also takes Marshall 13 against UTSA, and he takes Wisconsin 8 against LSU. Caroline takes Texas A&M 2.5 against Oklahoma State. Iowa 8 against Tennessee in the Citrus Bowl, and Northwestern 6.5 against Utah. Plaz takes Liberty 17.5 against Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. He takes Boise 4.5 against UCLA in SoFi Stadium, and he takes Oregon State. Now, he said they were a 31-point dog. Who is Oregon State playing, Plaz?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. And the official point total would be?
6.5.
6.5.
Yeah.
Well, even if it were 31, I'd be mathematically.
You'd still be in trouble. Kelly, very important picker, takes Coastal Carolina 10 against San Jose State and Honolulu. He takes Tulane, 7.5-point dog against Virginia Tech, and Troy, a 7.5-point dog against Duke in Birmingham. And D-Mase, the leader, trying to close it out, takes Kentucky by 5 over Clemson. Florida State, 14-point dog against Georgia, and he has Western Kentucky for 2.5 against Old Dominion. So those are our picks. Guys, gals, it's been a fun season. Remember, you can play online by going to our website at thegamenashville.com. Our contest, as always, and we thank them every year, sponsored by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. So those are the picks for the Holiday Bowl season. Ladies and gentlemen, good luck.
Yeah, whatever.
Thank you, Willie.
Hey, I just want to tell you guys, happy holidays. I love each and every one of you. On a serious note, enjoy your families. Don't eat too much. Don't drink too much. But I hope all y'all lose your games. All of y'all. I hope y'all don't win. That's including you, Caroline, too.
I didn't think I was excluded.
Gotta feel like part of the
Figured I
club.
was just part of the group.
Yeah.
Hey, Derek.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
Derek, I
y'all.
want you to spend the holiday season thinking about sportsmanship, winning with class, acting like you've been there before. Because even though you're going to win this, it's been so. The kids. What are the kids that are
Chris, the children.
Y'all know didn't y'all hear my slogan? Y'all haven't heard my slogan about the kids?
There's bumper stickers about this.
There's bumper stickers, T-shirts, mugs, koozies, whatever they call.
And what does it say?
Damn them kids, okay?
Damn kids. Because that is the true reason for the holiday season.
Absolutely.
Damn them
absolutely.
kids.
Hey, my lunch is here, so I gotta go.
See you soon.
All right, appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. It's been a fun season. All right, more Caroline, Willie, D-Mase coming up next. We're brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet.
Hey, everyone. Hey, man, listen up. I need to tell you something. And that something is about Cool Springs MD. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife Daphne, along with that experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of Brentwood, Nashville, including yours truly, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune systems, energy levels, cognitive functions, and more. Why do you think my energy levels are so freaking through the roof? And that's because of Cool Springs MD. They are there to connect you with the medical care you required to have a healthy and enriched life. And men, we are getting older each day, and we need to have a healthy and enriched life. So there's no better time now. This is what you need to do. Give Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment. Here's the number, 615-486-3458, 615-486-3458, or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. Hey, 102.5 The Game has teamed up with Mookie Betts' AIM Foundation to help underprivileged members of our community. You can email bids in now at enteryourbids@gmail.com for either the family package that includes Mookie Betts t-shirts, hats, miniature Dodger baseball bats, Mookie Betts autographed baseballs, or the game day package that includes a $500 Southwest gift card, Mookie Betts jerseys, Dodgers and Dad gang hats, 2 tickets to a Dodgers game in Los Angeles, and a photo op with Mookie Betts. Email bids in now at enteryourbids@gmail.com. Bids close at 5 p.m. today. We'll catch up with Elliot Friedman in 10 minutes. We'll get the latest on the Tyson Berry situation, how he thinks these Nashville Predators are playing now that we're about a third of the way through the season. And if the season ended today, the Preds would be in a playoff wildcard spot. So we'll chat with Elliot Friedman in 10 minutes. But first, let's get into some of your phones. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Anything is on the table. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. One texter texts in and says, Viking Matt texts in, says, Trillon's not good because he has no quarterback. Well, yeah. I don't know about that. I don't know if I would necessarily say that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. He
has
has
putting up plenty of numbers.
Yeah, I mean, the quarterback is there. I just think it's not just as simple as, he hasn't been on the field. Mm-hmm. It's not just as simple as that. It's not just as simple as, he dropped passes. Well, he hasn't dropped no more than anybody else on that team. So you can't just point to those two different things. I think it's more than just that. But in regards to the quarterback thing, I think he has the quarterback, or at least we believe he has the quarterback, and he's shown that he can, spin the ball. So, as far as their rapport now, they may have to, be better with that, building that chemistry. But he has a quarterback that can throw the football.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's it. It's not the quarterback.
Yeah.
It's now. It's not the quarterback. If it becomes about the quarterback, that's a good thing. Because he's got to be on the field and be out there and have a lot more happen before it becomes about that.
Yeah, it's not about Will Levis. Will Levis can get the ball to other receivers. It's about Treylon Burks and his availability, and it's the fact that he's not getting the football. I don't think that's Will Levis's fault. Tommy Texan says, question for Derek Mason. Why do you think that Amy is so cheap? It's hard sometimes staying a fan with her penny pinching. We literally let all of our talent go just like Bud did. We became the farm for the Ravens and now the Eagles.
Amy, and I'm not sure Amy. I'm not going to sit here and say the organization is cheap. They pay players. It's just, and I think I've said this before, they prioritize positions just like every other team out there. And, they pay top dollar for the running back. They pay top dollar for their defensive lineman and their edge rusher. They pay top money for their safety. They, in the order of prioritizing, positions, receiver is not 1 or 2 or 3, I don't think, because obviously you got your quarterback, then your running back, then your defensive tackle, your edge rusher. I'm just talking about for the Titans, even though they haven't paid Will. He hasn't earned that paycheck yet, but they paid Ryan Tannehill. Then they paid their safety. They
paid the running back.
They paid the running. They haven't been in the business of paying their receiver, like giving receiver top dollar. So when you say, when we look at A.J. Brown, yeah, they wanted to keep him, but A.J. was worth probably more than what they were willing to give. And somebody else paid him what he wanted. Why? Because they prioritize receiver as being one of those guys we need. The NFL, they've already trended toward that. You see receivers making more than quarterbacks. The top receivers are making more than some of the good quarterbacks in this league. So the problem that I have with the Titans at times is, when are y'all going to prioritize the receiver as being, he needs to be our top guy? Because until you do that, you're going to allow guys to walk off. And this organization has been that way the whole time.
And in the NFL, you get what you pay for.
Yeah. So I'm not saying she's by no means cheap. She's not cheap. It's just I'd rather pay for this top dollar than to pay for that top dollar.
And I do think it's fair to say that she is more of the traditional family-owned ownership groups that are less and less now, where you get more groups and you get deeper pockets, and so you have an easier time writing huge checks, right? So I do think there are some owners in the NFL that have deeper pockets than she does, and that's not really saying that she's cheap. That's just saying you got to deal with what you have. And the good thing about the NFL is with the revenue sharing and the TV contracts, you're going to get enough money to be able to field a good team if you make smart decisions.
I would look at maybe the Bengals owner, probably pre-Joe Burrow, but the Bengals owner I would categorize probably a cheap owner. An owner that doesn't want to dip into his pockets. They didn't even have an indoor practice facility. I mean, Amy, looking at the new facilities, I think that Amy is willing to put the money forth, but she just might not have as deep of a supply as maybe like a Stan Kroenke or a Jerry Jones. Wes in Hermitage is on the line with a thought on the Titans. What's up, Wes?
Hey, how y'all doing today? D-Mase, you sound real confident on Thursdays after y'all do those silly underdogs this year. What's going on with that, man?
Hey, my silly underdogs, I'm leading, so, my confidence,
you are, you know what I'm
my
saying?
confidence got to be high. It's high right now. But I am a little bit worried about Kelly. I am a little bit worried because
that's fair. That's fair.
He does have a pathway mathematically.
Yeah, he has a pathway to victory, so I am a little bit worried about it.
Did we just have somebody call in and say that the reason for Traylon Burks' lack of success is on Will Levis? Did I hear that correctly?
That is correct.
Yeah. They said the quarterback. I don't think
I'm not even going to touch on that.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to touch on that. What in the world? Anyways, my question to you is, so yesterday I heard y'all talking about, Traylon Burks and A.J. Brown and all that good stuff, the talent, no talent, whatever. This is my kind of thought on that. Watching the Miami game right off the bat, you saw them immediately try to get him involved. But you look at Derek, you know what Derrick Henry can do because he's proved it. You look at D-Hop, you know what he can do because he's proved it. And then I know it's kind of a stretch, but you kind of know what you've got in NWI because he's proved it. They tried to get Traylon involved in the beginning of that Miami Dolphins game, and it just wasn't happening. And I think as a quarterback, as a young quarterback, you want to go out there, you want to win that game. So you've got to go to your prove-it players. And I just don't think that Traylon Burks has made Will feel confident enough. He's slinging the ball around the yard, man. And it doesn't seem like he's really looking at Traylon. And I think that's kind of on Traylon.
I understand what you're saying, but I do push back on they try to get him involved in the game. They didn't. They threw him one screenplay early in the game. One. That's not getting an individual in the game. But I understand what the premise of it, of trying to get him in a game or whatnot. But they didn't. In this particular game, they didn't try to. They threw him a deep ball that it was a 50-50 ball. You can't be just throwing deep balls to guys. Can't have a guy run 10 deep routes and try to throw 10 deep balls and then get mad when he don't come up with nothing but, 2 or 3 of them, and they were contested. All of them were contested. You can't be mad at him. You need to find another way to give him the ball where all of his passes aren't contested. So, again, this is until they make a conservative effort. This is what I said yesterday, and I'm not backing off of it. Until they make a conservative effort and get him the football so I can see. Y'all may know. Y'all may have your own perception of it and y'all are done with it, whatever. But for me, until they make a conservative effort to get him the ball more, I'm going to stand on his heel like, get a kid a chance. If you don't give him a chance, then I'm like, well, you didn't prove to me that he couldn't play because you didn't try to get him involved. He's made some plays for you in the past, and yes, he's dropped 3 balls this year, but he doesn't lead this team in drops. Everybody drop a ball. Hell, look at Kansas City, 33 drops.
And I think it's important to look at percentage of targets to drops versus just number of drops because D-Hop gets the ball significantly more. So he's going to have more drops.
Absolutely.
I think it's the ratio of targets to drops for Traylon Burks that's really the biggest thing.
But I think what y'all are missing in this whole thing is receivers, especially young, let's just say young receivers. they get more comfortable with catching the footballs the more time you come to them. Why do you think veteran quarterbacks like, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, and you even heard Tom Brady even mention this, like, I'm going to throw it to a guy. If he drops it, I'm going to come back to him because I want him to gain confidence. I want him to build. Now, if he drops 3 or 4 in a row, it's like, I got to go somewhere else.
Learn my lesson.
Yeah, I learned my lesson. But I got to give this young. They haven't given him a damn missing. You're missing the little things, the nuanced things that you're just looking at. Oh, catches and non-catches, or yardage, or touchdown. No, look at the nuance. If you drop one as a quarterback, just like me and Steve, my first couple of, I may have dropped a pass in there. My first couple of times, but you know what, Steve? I'm going back to you because I want you to build that confidence. Now, it's going to come to a point you keep on dropping them, then okay. But they got to make a conservative effort to get him the football. That's all I'm saying.
I want to get him back into this conversation, but coming up next, we'll chat with Elliot Friedman of Sportsnet and the 32 Thoughts podcast. Hey, join Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and D-Mase at Teddy's Tavern this Sunday from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. for our NFL pregame show. They'll break down the Titans' Week 15 matchup against the Texans and give you the latest updates before the game. Our NFL pregame show is presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment and Beast Unleashed. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063, The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we're streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. It's 1 o'clock on a Thursday, so that means Elliot Friedman of the 32 Thoughts podcast and Sportsnet joins us now. Elliot, always look forward to our sit-downs with you every single week. Predators made their road trip up to your neck of the woods, taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs this past weekend. I saw in your latest 27 thoughts, I see we're slacking around the holidays,
Yes.
Elliot. 27 thoughts.
Sorry.
But I saw you.
Too much eggnog the other day.
Yeah,
No, I'm messing with you.
I saw that you talked to Ryan O'Reilly, talked to Roman Yossi, talked to Andrew Burnett about Roman Yossi. What were some of your takeaways with your conversations with some people here in Nashville?
Well, first of all, I always love seeing those guys. That's number one. I just thought that the one thing I see there is that it's a pretty happy group. You're always happier when you're winning. They didn't win that night, but they are on a good little stretch. I think they have an understanding of where they're going, and I believe they like the direction they are going in. I forgot to write, but Jeremy Lauzon said he accepted Austin Watson's apology for what happened at the end of that game last Thursday when he shot the puck at him. I think it's a little tougher, for some of the guys like Tyson Barrie or Dante Fabro who are a bit more in limbo about where they're going. But I think generally there's an understanding of what the Predators are thinking and what their direction is. I found that they were in a good mood when I saw them, and the only thing that I was really felt bad about was I chatted with Cody Glass, and at the end I called him Cole instead of Cody, and I felt like a big idiot.
But there is Cole Smith on the team, so I think you got a little slack on that.
I'd seen Cole Smith earlier, and his stall was about 3 down from Cody's, so I just had a brain lock, I guess.
But the backdrop is, didn't Cody Glass at some point come up to you and say, "Hey, I'm a big fan of yours. I grew up watching you," and stuff like that, and you still butchered his name after that?
And I still butchered his name. It just shows, I'm that ungrateful Christmas guest who brings the worst meal to the podcast. That's what I am.
You're the one that brings the Christmas vacation turkey that just completely explodes whenever you put your fork into
Yes.
it. Yeah, I totally understand.
Yes.
One thing that
Yes.
you did put in your 27 thoughts, you talked with Andrew Burnett, said Roman Yossi's one request was getting the puck up the ice faster, and I think that's kind of the moniker of Andrew Burnett's system. When your conversations with people that you had that you were talking with in Nashville, do they feel like they're at that point, that they're playing with the kind of speed that they wanted to when bringing Andrew Burnett in?
Better. I definitely think it's better. I think the one thing is that when you ask your captain to do something, you are, that's a big moment, because if your captain buys in, then everybody will buy in, right? And clearly Yossi has done that. I actually was texting with a coach this morning who saw that, and he said he thinks that it hasn't always been easy for Yossi in terms of deprogramming from what you're used to. And but the fact that Yossi's done it has really sent a proper message through the team. I think, Carolyn, for the most part, it's working. I think most teams prefer to play that way. I think that, the one thing I've been looking for it now in a couple of games, I think sometimes when things break down for the Predators, you can see Yossi's instinct is, this isn't working, so I've got to go back to what I'm used to. And I think sometimes that's the biggest challenge, because when it's not working, that's when you really get tested on, are we committed to this?
Now, Elliot, let's flip this back over to, and I know I asked you about Philip last week, Philip Forsberg, and the type of season he's having. And mind you, just like, the core guys, they've been through 3 coaches within the last 5 years. but it seems like he keeps reinventing himself. But even this year, I mean, he's on pace. He's going to better his numbers from last year. He missed, 30 games last year because of injury. Right now, he's really will obliterate those numbers from last year. But in your experience of, just watching this league, being a part of this league, have you seen guys that have, transitions from, coach to coach to coach have an impact that he's having at such a, he's been in the league, 10, 12 years now, but it seems like he's playing like a young kid again.
I have to say this. The first thing I think of when I see that, Derek, is just what a great player he is. And that, he can, basically what he's proven is, you want me to play this way, I can play that way. You want me to play this way, I can play that way. You want me to play this way, I can play that way. And the only thing I would say to you is, off the top of my head, Derek, I can't think of specific examples, but what I can tell you is that that's what great players do. You're going to find the historically great players out there in the league, no matter what their coach asks them to do, they're going to be able to do it. Like, you look at a guy like Ovechkin in Washington, how many coaches did he have in his career? He had a ton of them, and he still scored at an unbelievable pace. And that says to me what Forsberg is he's a great player because he can do whatever a coach needs him to do.
Now, we talked earlier about this team and getting to the Thanksgiving break and seeing where they are or where they were.
Yeah.
Now you look at this team and where they are. I think they're, 5th position or somewhere around there as far as playoffs.
Yeah, wild card one
right now. Do you expect, the way they have been playing, do you expect this team to continue this run? Because I know you still got your young guys mixed with older guys, and they're still getting used to all of the nuances of this team. And how long a season is. I mean, anything can happen. But do you expect this team to continue to improve?
Yes, I do. Because there's a couple of reasons to that. Number one, if you're going to have trouble playing a new system, it's going to be early as opposed to later. And if you're the Predators, you hope that. Remember that one week I came on with you and they were 31st in the league? You hope that that's rock bottom. You figure that you don't need to go through that again. So that's number one. You think everybody's getting used to what they're being asked to do, and everybody should get better. Number two, you still have one of the best goalies in the league, and he wins you a lot of games. And number three, the one thing about some of your young players is they did go through some pretty high-pressure games, last year. And so what you're kind of hoping is, maybe we fell short and we made a change, but the bottom line is they understood what it was like to play in important games that could determine your playoff position. And you don't expect them to go backwards. You expect them to, okay, maybe we weren't successful, but I have some idea now of what it takes. And we should be better off for it. Like, I think, what Yossi's capable of, what Forsberg's capable of, what your top players are capable of. Now, you're going to find out, okay, did Parsonen learn from last year? Did Cody Glass learn from last year better than I learned how to remember his name? Like, things like that. Like, and that's what I'm looking at. You're saying to these guys, Novak, you're saying to these guys, okay, you had a taste last year. What are you going to do with it this year? Now, the one thing I believe, Derek, is this, and that is that I don't think that Barry Trotz is going to veer from his plan. I think at times, they've done a really good job this year and better than we expected, but I don't think they're under any illusions of where they're going. They are not a team at this point in time that's a threat to win the Stanley Cup. I think that they're probably very happy with the way things are going, and their fans are probably very happy with the way things are going, but you're not thinking you're going to win it all this year. So I'm not expecting Barry Trotz to make short-term moves. I don't think he should make short-term moves. The one thing I still think, and I watch it while watching the team, is I still think he wants to remodel his defense a bit. I think he wants it to get a bit longer. If you look at the teams that have won the Stanley Cup lately, they're tall, long teams that are mobile. They can skate. They can defend. They set up like a picket fence or a corn maze in your zone. That's what I see from Trotz. I think he looks at them and says, we need to be mobile on defense, but we need to be longer and bigger. And that, I think, is one of his big goals for them.
With that in mind, Elliot, you had a really good sit-down with Luke Shen, and right now he's in that numbers crunch, right? They've got the right shot defenseman that they've got Shen, who they just signed for 3 years, and then they've got Tyson Barrie, Dante Fabro, who you mentioned, and then add Alex Carrier, all in the last year of their contract. So they've got decisions to make there, and you can see Andrew Burnett trying to juggle it and keep everybody in there, but it's hard when everybody's healthy. So let's start with Shen. He's obviously just a great storyteller. He's been around the block. You had a great conversation with him, but here people are still getting to know him. He got hurt early, so they haven't really seen his best. And so tell me where you think he's going in this, because he's a key guy that is probably going to be around for a while.
Yeah, I just think, like, the one thing is it was a pretty traumatic knee injury. Like, when it first happened, honestly, Willie, someone told me he might be done. Like, and so, like, he fought. Would have been easy for him to say, I've got my contract. I don't need this anymore. And he wasn't taking any of that. He's got a second opinion, and he wants to play. So I think that says to me that, maybe he's been in the league 15 years or whatever, but he hasn't lost the fire, and he still very much wants to play. So, he's a terrific guy too, and he's going to be there. Like, he's not on your top pair except in spot duty, but he's going to be there. Like, we all know Tyson Barrie's situation. He's asked to go, and they're going to try to accommodate him. Dante Fabro's a guy who hasn't been in the lineup all the time. I don't know that he's asked for a trade, but I know what young people are like in those kind of situations. He's probably a lot of, if I'm not going to play, please send me somewhere that I can. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case with him. Carrier for me is an interesting one. I really liked him. The fact that he's not permanently in the lineup says to me that they're not sure. But like one, if not two of these guys, I think are eventually going to end up going. Not Shen, I don't believe. And then we'll see what Trotz does with some cap room either now or in the off season.
This could be just more of a perspective question than your specifics on these two players, but I think a lot of Predator fans were excited to see that Matthew Wood and Tanner Molendyk, the two first-round picks from the draft in Nashville last summer, both made Team Canada's World Junior team right out of the draft. So maybe just if you could put in perspective how tough that team is to make, especially your first year out of the draft, because I think people are excited to hear about their progress.
Well, first of all, I think it's a great thing for the Predators and their fans. Anytime these kids get put on these teams, it's a real vindication of what you're doing and the kind of players you're drafting. So you really like that. Number two, like those games get aired on NHL Network now in the States. So if there are Predators who want to watch it, you can find them. I would always recommend it. It's a great tournament to watch, even though we don't air it. Don't tell my bosses I said. Anyway,
okay.
So I think it's a real feather in the cap for the Predators. I think it's a real feather in the cap for those two players. It's a big deal in our country. There's a lot of other countries that don't care about this tournament as much as we do. When we don't win it, we have like national investigations. So the pressures on and we're not a favorite this year either. I don't follow it as closely, but like people who know, they tell me Sweden and the United States, you guys are the two favorites. So they'll be playing from an underdog position. It's a big deal. They'll get a lot of exposure. And anytime you have two kids make this team, because it's very competitive, there are good players who don't make it. So anytime you make this team, it's a real shot in the arm for what you guys are doing in these players.
And correct me if I'm wrong, right? There are guys that were drafted last year that are on this, so they're a year younger than some of the guys on the team. So that's a good sign that they're good enough to make the team even at this age.
Yes, that is true, Willie. Like basically the World Championships are for guys who are under 20. That's the age cutoff, and it's basically called a 19-year-old tournament. So anytime you make it and you're not 19, it means that you really caught somebody's eye.
Well, that's good. And before we let you go, your thoughts on the Blues, Central Division neighbor here, letting Craig Berube go because he's got a Stanley Cup and he's won a lot of games, but it seems like the Blues just got stuck here recently, similar to what we saw in Minnesota.
I think that like Craig Berube, I really love Craig Berube. He's one of my favorites to deal with. I think he's a really honest, blunt, demanding guy. Like Derek, he'd be like a football coach coaching hockey. He's not so much about the X's and O's. What he's about is he's about basically there's a puck. Who's willing to fight for it? Who's willing to battle to win that fight? Who's willing to beat the man in front of them to get the puck? And, I think he's a grinder, and that's like he played 1,000 games in the NHL the hardest way. He fought his way to do it, and he was hugely respected and very well thought of. But, the one thing I think is when you're that kind of a coach, it's hard to be in one place for a long time. He just passed 5 years. He won the Stanley Cup in his first season, and those players loved him to a man. But as I wrote today, I think of the Larry Bird rule. Larry Bird was a good coach for the Pacers, but he stopped after 3 years. He said after 3 years, even the players who don't like you, even the players who like you are tired of listening to you. And that's one of the things I heard. It was just time. And I have no doubt he will go somewhere else and be successful, but I think it was time in St. Louis.
Elliot Friedman, Sportsnet, and the 32 Thoughts podcast. Elliot, always appreciate your insight. We're looking forward to your 5 other thoughts that were left off this week. We'll see those sprinkle out throughout the rest.
Caroline's giving you the incomplete.
Next week, Carolyn. I'll have a heart attack, but I'll give you 37.
I appreciate that.
37,
Let us know if you want any more ideas. We're an idea factory over here at 1025 The Game.
I need it. Believe it. I need it.
Elliot, appreciate you as always. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll chat next week.
Take care, guys.
All right, thanks, you too. What did you make of St. Louis firing Craig Berube? Honestly, I was waiting for that to happen.
Yeah, I think last year when they started the transition, I think a lot of people were eyeing, okay, how does he fit into all this? We talked about this with Mike Vrabel. When the window looks like it's closed and it's sort of you come to the end of an era. And when you trade Ryan O'Reilly and Vladimir Tarasenko, I think that signals that you're going in a different direction.
Right.
It's hard for the coach to go through that transition sometimes. They gave him a shot. I think it shows a lot of respect. They gave him a shot to start the year, but some of the same things that plagued them last year are rendering themselves so far this year. So I'm curious to know what a new person with new ideas tries to do.
Blues are in a tough spot.
Yeah.
Got a lot of talent.
For Predator fans, it's like, let's keep going in that direction. I like slip down. That's fine.
Right. Yeah.
We'll jump in
ahead.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll fill in. We're good. We're good. We're good right here. All right. Coming up next, some news coming out of Boston. How does that affect the Titans? How does it affect us here in Nashville? We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. We are brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet. Plus, tomorrow it is your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click. If you correctly guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the Preds game tomorrow night, you will win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Participate with Robbie and Rexroad tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m. Pick to Click, brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. List your home with TJ to get your home seen, heard, and sold.
when they came out of Germany, conversations I had that week made it very clear that a decision was made and they were going to play out the string, and at the end of the year there would be a parting of the ways for a variety of reasons. I think, and I wasn't told this specifically, but the main one being, you don't fire Bill Belichick during the season. It's just not going to happen. Additionally, though, he's an asset. He's under contract for another year, which we reported after ESPN or NFL Media reported there was a long-term extension in place that would keep Bill locked up long-term. It's only through next year. So that would not be an impediment to them changing course. And it had gone too far. The Germany game, the Commanders game, the Saints game. All huge marquee games, and then there was a Chargers game after that. Just because they won last week in Pittsburgh in prime time, I don't think it quells anything.
Bill, I wanted to ask you a question, speaking obviously for yourself and your understanding. Do you have an understanding that Robert will not ask you to be back next year?
Yeah, I'm getting ready for Kansas City. That's what I'm doing.
Outside of all the rumors, do you want to
Yeah, I'm getting ready for Kansas City.
Bill, while understanding that you're getting ready for Kansas City, have you and Robert discussed your future beyond the season?
Getting ready for Kansas City.
Bill, I understand. You said that you're getting ready for Kansas City. Yeah, you made that abundantly clear. But what about your future with the Patriots? Have you had conversations?
Getting ready for Kansas City.
I'm getting ready for Kansas City. We're on to Cincinnati.
I would have bet $1 million that that's what his answer would be all three times.
Yes.
To all three questions. I would have bet $1 million that that's exactly what he would say.
Oh, he might have changed it up like, well, I'm just getting ready for Kansas City, that's all.
We're focused on Kansas City. I saw too Hunter Henry was asked about Bill Belichick and his future. He said, I'm focused on Kansas City. It's almost like it's an organizational thing. Everybody's focused on Kansas City. It's crazy. But that first clip there, that was Tom Curran on NBC Sports Boston. He reported earlier this week that reportedly Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick had discussions after the Patriots lost to the Indianapolis Colts in Germany that at the end of the season, they have agreed to part ways. They're not going to fire Bill Belichick in the middle of the season, as Tom Curran said in that clip. You don't fire Bill Belichick in the middle of the season, but a mutual parting of ways is how they intend to frame it at the end of the season. Now, what Robert Kraft decides to do is his thing. What happens in New England is one thing. But with all of the hoopla, all of the conversation that we saw, the Greg Bedard report of how interested the New England Patriots are in Mike Vrabel. We saw the Ben Volen report in the Boston Globe about a month or so ago that Mike Vrabel would be the home run hire for Robert Kraft. If the Patriots do intend to move on from Bill Belichick, as Tom Curran has reported, where does Mike Vrabel come in with all of this? Does Amy Adams Strunk answer phone calls? Did she have those conversations with Robert Kraft?
I don't think Robert Kraft makes the phone call. I don't. I think it's under.
So you don't think he would call Amy?
I don't think he would, because he knows where his team is at. I think we're getting so caught up in the picture or the sexiness of what it can potentially be, and what's been coming out of New England. Robert Kraft, he hadn't said anything, other than what people have alleged he said about Vrabel, but he didn't say, listen, Vrabel is going to be my next coach. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get him as our next coach. No.
He's using the media to kind of get that message out there.
But if Vrabel, if you know where your team is at, I could see if this team had, New England, if they had just, stockpiles of talent, but, the head coach just got old with everything. Not necessarily him getting old, but the message just got old. And they just were tired of it. And you already have a team that's ready to go. You got your quarterback, you got everybody else. Then I can see them saying, okay, we're in this window of the next 3, 4, 5 years. We are in a position because of our roster already to make a deal like that. Giving up, high picks, not just one. We got to give up a few. If we're in a position to do that, then I'm more inclined to say, okay, let's go make that call and see how, let's feel the Titans out, see what they're thinking. But they're not in that place. That roster is not where it needs to be, and the head coach is not.
You think and what I think, they might feel differently.
But what I'm saying, if we got to think of Robert Kraft as Even Jerry Jones wouldn't do something like that. And Jerry does some things to try to get his. He wouldn't even do that. Robert Kraft, I don't believe he would love to have possibly Vrabel as his head coach. That's like his. If I had everything perfect, he would be my head coach.
Yeah, if you were on the street.
Exactly, but it's not. He has a job. He's under contract, and we are not going to sell the farm for a coach and don't have no players. That's like having a car with no engine.
Doesn't mean he can't make the phone call.
He's not going to breach the phone. He's not going to even go down that road.
I agree.
He's whether it's Mayo or any other coach out there that he believes can coach his team. I am not going to have a team that doesn't have much talent and then say, you know what, because I want that coach, I'm going to give up my potential of having even more, to stockpile my team. I'm not going to give up all that to get a coach and then not have no players. And we're not even talking about not having no players for 1 year. We're talking about multiple drafts.
What do you think the going rate should be for Mike Vrabel if they did make a trade?
I don't know. He hadn't won a damn Super Bowl.
So what do you think?
I don't know what the going rate for him would be. Some people may say
he would have to. If you were Amy,
what
would you want?
If what would I want?
Yeah. If you're Amy,
I ask for the house. Give me your next 2 or 3. Give me your next 2 first-round picks. This year's first-round pick and next year's first-round pick.
Now imagine how crazy that would be.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I would ask for as a owner of a team with a head coach that you're coveting. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking to give him up. I just re-signed him to a deal. I just added to his deal. So what are you going to give me to make me even come off of my head coach?
If Robert Kraft said, I'm not giving you, because they're probably going to have, a top 3 pick in this year's draft?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're bad.
More than likely.
So I'm not giving you this year's pick, because that's probably going to be our quarterback of the future. I'll give you our first-round pick in 25 and 26.
Well, why would I do that as an owner? Because I still got to build my team.
Why?
I'm building. I got to build my team.
I'm just saying hypothetically.
They need players.
Yeah, they need players.
So why would you trade your first-round picks?
They also need a coach.
They can get a coach. Vrabel is not the only coach out there.
Robert Kraft was reported that he said that's our home run hire.
Let me ask you this.
Home run hire, but it doesn't mean
that's not a quote from anybody. But let's.
It was from Ben Volin.
That was not a quote from Robert Kraft. That was a
I don't know what the quote
from Ben Volin. But either way, why would Mike Vrabel want to be traded to the Patriots and then not have his next 2 first-round picks?
That's what I'm saying. Like.
So he's got to be interested too. Why would he want to be a part of that deal?
That
makes no sense.
How much say would Mike Vrabel have in that?
He would have a.
I'm genuinely asking. I don't know the answer.
I don't think he would have any say in it.
Because Amy can just say, "Yeah, deal, Mike. You're going to New England."
I don't think he would have any say.
I don't think Amy would do that. But I'm genuinely curious how much say a coach would. I mean, players don't get say if they get traded or not. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't.
I guess that's a fair question to ask. But I would think that with the relationship of Mike Vrabel and Amy Adams, that any of this would be predicated on them having a conversation and saying, if you don't want to be here, then I would look at trading you if this opportunity is out there. If you want to be here, then end of discussion.
Vrabel would be the dumbest coach in the world to say, no, I don't want this job. He would be the dumbest coach in America to tell Amy. If Amy came to him and said, okay, Willy, I'm Amy. Hey, Willy, you're the coach of this team. New England wants you. Do you want to be here?
I've got a quarterback named Will Levis. Mm-hmm. I kind of like where he's going. Mm-hmm. I look at the Patriots. I love the Patriots, but if you're giving up assets to trade me there and they've got no answers at quarterback, they've got a big mess, and I'm the guy following a legend in Bill Belichick, no, I'd rather be here.
I would much rather be here. I'm Vrabel.
I would rather be here, but then again, it's like if I say, the minute I say I don't want to be here, you mess up everything for your career moving forward.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Because you're running away from something, and it's like it's like, so you can just pick up and leave whenever you want. Like, you're not truly invested in what we're doing. You're asking the players to be truly invested in all of this. But then if I come to you and you say, well, yeah, I would rather be, which means all that stuff you were telling the players, you were lying.
Right. That's a good point. So if you give off that vibe at all,
he
then
cannot say that. He cannot. That would be a trick question. That would be a trick
You're
question.
right. That's a good.
Exactly.
That's a good way of
If
putting it.
Amy said, "Do you want to be here?" and said, "Nah, not really,"
That's
but I like
a
her.
trick question.
I don't think I would like to think I would hope that Mike Vrabel is smarter than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
To say,
saying.
I don't really want to be here.
That's what I'm saying. He would be the dumbest coach in America if he said, "I don't want to be."
But
here.
I also think Bob Kraft would be the dumbest owner in America if he's willing to trade that much to get any coach. Forget about Mike Vrabel. Forget about what you think of Mike Vrabel. To give up 2 first-round picks for a rebuilding team, no. And you've said it before. If they had a championship team sort of ready to go, and they didn't really need anything else, they just needed the cherry on top, the right coach to take them over the top.
Then if I'm Vrabel, I'm going there.
That would be different.
Exactly. I forget.
But they're in a full rebuild. They don't have they just failed on the quarterback pick.
When Belichick got traded to
They haven't drafted well.
New England, they already
They have not drafted well at all.
Yeah.
They already had Drew Bledsoe, right? When Belichick got traded to
when the Patriots picked him up?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had Bledsoe.
Yeah, that was a trade. Was that a trade or was it just did they fire him in Cleveland?
Well, they fired him in Cleveland,
And then he
he
was
went
with the
to the
Jets
Jets
for
with Parcells.
for what, like a day?
And then he was traded from the Jets to the Patriots, right?
Yeah, so the Patriots had their quarterback. They had a team. They had just went to the Super Bowl with Bill Parcells.
Yeah.
So they
were still a playoff team with Pete Carroll.
Exactly. So they needed that guy, and they felt that Belichick was that guy, which he turned out to be that guy along with Tom Brady. But they felt so they were ready to win. They were in a position to start winning. They're not in a position to start. So if I make that trade, we're good because we're in a position to we got our quarterback. We're good.
I'm with you. They have a lot that they need to fix. But I also think right now they're in a much different situation because the coach that's going to follow in Bill Belichick's shoes is following in the footsteps of probably the greatest NFL coach of all time.
Oh, he is the greatest NFL coach of all time.
So if I'm Robert Kraft, you have to think about the situation of do I trust, because I'm with you that I've heard if it's not anyone else, it's probably Gerard Mayo. I don't know how they feel about that within the organization, but Robert Kraft is probably thinking, I have to go find a coach to follow Bill freaking Belichick. You're going to have a splashy move, I think.
I think it's going to be Mayo. That's what everybody.
I think it could be.
It really doesn't really matter who it is.
But
Early, they got to find some players.
If the question is why would he do that? Why would he trade those first round picks to get Mike Vrabel? I think that's the reason why. Because he feels like he needs to have the next guy to follow in Bill Belichick's shoes that he is up for the challenge, a guy that they love in New England, and he might view Mike Vrabel as being that guy. Do I think it's smart? No. Do I think that he would do it? Probably.
Well,
but would Amy do it is the question.
In college football, that can work because you're getting that splash coach that everybody loves. And you know what I can do in college?
Well, you don't have picks in college.
I can tangle that coach and like, you play for me. I'm Nick Saban. Come play for me. So that's their lure. Like, guys are going to come to you.
Yeah.
In the NFL, it's not that way. It's not going to happen that way because, there's restrictions, payrolls, all that other stuff. You just can't, just get guys and hoard guys. This is not the old NFL when they used to just get guys and put them down and on a practice squad or never played them just so you didn't see how good that player was. This is not that type of NFL anymore. But I just don't think that New England is in a place to even make a call, maybe, I don't know, but a serious no, because we're not in that space as an organization.
I think you got to make the call.
I don't even think they make the call.
If whatever Amy demands is not what's in the cards, then it's fine. No harm, no foul.
I mean, yeah, I
Amy
guess.
could say, give us your third round pick for Mike Vrabel. And if I'm Robert Kraft, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, great. I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm just saying, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know until you ask. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. Coming up next, we'll chat with our friend Allie Melnicki of Zen Sports. We got a Thursday night football game tonight. She'll help us out with our best bets of the night. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
second and a fourth or whatever.
Hey, people, those bettors out there, men, women. I was going to say kids, but you can't bet just yet, fellas and little ladies. Let me tell you about our partners in sports. There's a game tonight, so if you want to bet on the game tonight, Thursday night game, then do it with our partners in sports, and I'm going to tell you why, because I'm excited to let you know that they're launching their new introductory promotion available to all new customers in Tennessee. You heard that, new customers. The No Danger First Wager. When you sign up for a Zen Sports account, you will receive up to a $1,000 No Danger First Wager when you place your first bet on Zen Sports. You will be reimbursed for the amount of your bet if it loses up to $1,000. Plus, Zen Sports has launched a new VIP program for the premier bettors out there in Tennessee. If you think you might qualify, then listen up, people. The VIP program is by invite only. So if you feel that your Zen Sports play qualifies for the VIP consideration, please check out the program details and apply at zensports.com/VIP. No other sports book will offer you the premier sports betting experience with 24/7 top-tier customer support and bigger and better action than Zen Sports. So what are you waiting for, bettors? Get going and download their app at zensports.com today, Thursday. Zen Sports. Betting just got better. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older to bet here in Tennessee.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. Hey, make your silly underdog picks for your chance to win weekly prizes. You can play at thegamenashville.com or the 1025 The Game app. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. We've got another dud on Thursday Night Football tonight, but it is football nonetheless. Chargers, Raiders on Thursday Night Football, and joining us now for her best bets of the night is our friend Allie Melnicki from Zen Sports. Allie, appreciate you for joining us. Got an email from you today of a $10 no danger wager on Zen Sports for Thursday Night Football. If you were to advise maybe some new bettors on the Zen Sportsbook app with a $10 no danger wager, what would you put that on?
Probably the under, since I don't know if either of these teams are capable of scoring tonight.
Good grief. What is the over-under? After the 3-0 scintillating spectacular.
Try and guess, Willy.
Is it 30? Is it 29.5, I'll say.
34 and a half. So I'm
okay,
with
so
you,
reasonable.
Allie. Hammer the under.
Yep, I mean, you look at what was it? The Raiders couldn't even score against the Vikings last week. Chargers are down to their backup quarterback. Keenan Allen is out. I'm going with the under.
Yeah, I absolutely do not blame you there. Josh Jacobs has the best odds for anytime touchdown score. I'm thinking, with the quarterback situations, with the offenses, how they are, they might run the football a lot. Do you like Josh Jacobs as an anytime touchdown scorer or maybe somebody else?
I mean, he's still questionable last I checked, so let's see if he suits up. I think maybe I'll go with the over-under on field goal kicks throughout the game. Might be the better way to go on this one.
Probably a good call.
Now, the Vikings and the Bengals, we know what Browning has been able to do with the Cincinnati Bengals. The Vikings have just, I believe, benched Joshua Dobbs, and they're going with the next guy. The over-under on this one is 40. Would you go with the over?
No, I would actually go with the under. Nick Mullins, now taking over the vacuum starting job. I don't know the last time he played, or last time I should say he started in the NFL, had to be a couple years ago. I know Justin Jefferson might be back, but I don't think he's 100%. The Cincinnati Bengals, they've been looking great under Browning, but I'm going to go with the under here. I just don't see the Vikings putting up a big total on this one.
Now, the Bears and the Browns, they've since Justin Fields has gotten back, I think he's 5-4 in the last 9 games. They are a 3-point dog. Would you take the points in the Bears?
I'm actually going with Father Time Joe Flacco and the Browns. I think that the one thing about the Browns you can't overlook is their defense. I don't think Justin Fields has seen a defense like this Cleveland squad in a couple weeks. I think they could shut them down. I think they could force turnovers. And Flacco's look good, so I'm going to ride with the Browns on this one.
You have no idea how happy you just made D-Mase. Shouting out his guy,
Flacco. Hey, listen, I said this, that – and it may be a hot take later, but I think the Browns are a better team with Joe Flacco as quarterback than Deshaun Watson. I like Deshaun Watson. I think he's a hell of a talent. But for this team, their personality, I think Joe Flacco is a better quarterback for this team at this present moment.
I could agree with you on that. We saw Watson struggle a lot earlier this year. I think maybe he only had 1 or 2 games that he really showed flashes of his former self. So I definitely could agree with you on that one.
All right, Allie, I got to get your input here on the DeVito phenomenon here. This is really something. Have you had a chance to tailgate with the family? You got to get in on some of that action, right? They're hilarious. They're awesome.
Oh, I mean, if I were to have I love my family having a big Italian dinner, but I think that they would be the life of the party for having a big Sunday night dinner. So I would love to join in on that one.
But he really is doing some good things, right? They're rallying around him a little bit. I'm intrigued by their game against the Saints. I don't see the Saints as great shakes. I was a little surprised that they're that big of a favorite.
Yeah, I mean, coming off of a Monday night game, you do got to consider that they are playing on a short week, but you got to ride the DeVito train. He's really been inspiring this team. A few weeks ago, they looked dead after getting blown out by the Cowboys, but they're riding on Tommy Cutlets, so got to ride that train, and the Saints look like they're trending in the opposite direction. They've been struggling as of late, so I'm going to go with the Giants to cover on this one.
Now, the Jets and the Dolphins, obviously are favored in this game, but that's still with, do we know if Tyreek Hill is going to play or not? Because we saw this team without Tyreek Hill this past Monday night, and they did not look good. So would you take the Jets and the points on this one?
This is one that I'm going back and forth with, and the Jets obviously have one of the best defenses in the NFL, but I'm leaning toward Miami. I'm not 100% on them yet, with or without Tyreek Hill, because I think Zach Wilson just played the game of his life. I think he's going to go back to being turnover prone and back to the guy that got benched I don't know how many times since he came into the league. So I would rely more on Zach Wilson losing the game for the Jets and then the Jets actually winning.
That might be a very fair point. Allie, appreciate you as always. We'll chat next week.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Stillman & Company is up next.
Be love and love on your people. Peace.